mountain climbers, it's Mount Everest. For surfers, the North Shore of Hawaii. For stock car drivers, it's Talladega. This is the beast of all beasts, the one that truly does put fear at the forefront. An adrenaline-gushing white-knuckled ride for 300 miles. 42 cars, door handle to door handle, bumper to bumper, at over 180 miles per hour.
You know, when you get that many wide and you get that hairy and you got to trust people that much, you always get a little nerve-wracking.
Biggest one we run all year long. A lot of drafting. You got to be out there with people that you don't know sometimes. Makes it really exciting.
Oh, Talladega is the most intense place we go, with all the young guys coming in thinking that they need to win.
Who will beat the beast? The ARCA REMAX Series season finale from Talladega, next, live on Speed.
It's time to rock and roll at the biggest house of them all, the Talladega Super Speedway. It's the Food World 300 for the ARCA REMAX Series, boys and girls. Plenty of storylines to be played out today. Let's find out about some of them. First to our Don Radebach.
And what a way to wrap up another championship season with a pole at Talladega Super Speedway. This would be Frank Kimmel's 18th career Super Speedway pole, tying him with Tim Steele with the most Speedway poles in ARCA competition. But Frank, let's talk about those 56 career wins, none of which have ever happened here at Talladega Super Speedway. Do you have the package, finally, to go to victory lane today at Talladega?
You're probably asking the wrong guy, Don. I don't know for sure. You always bring up that we haven't won here. I hate that, but the Advanced Auto Parts guys have really worked hard. The National Pork Board's done a great job for us, and you know, when you come to these speedways, it's really not up to the driver, it's off to the race car, so we'll just have to get in line with these kids and see if we can keep up.
Well, Frank Kimmel has led well over 2,000 laps in Super Speedway competition. How many has he led here at Talladega? 2, back in 1994 under caution. He wants to lead some today, for sure. Here's Lindsey Czarniak.
It is so hard to believe that there is only one driver in the field today that has ever won an ARCA race here at Talladega. That is Bobby Gerhart. You did it in 2001, so I know that you have a plan to defend that win with all the competition. How do you do it?
Well, I guess just attack from the beginning and stay at it hard all day.
Okay, and the car that you're racing today, you said, has never started below third place. That is exactly where he starts today, guys. Back to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Dillner. Alongside of me today, I got to get that straight, is Dan Pardis, the former ARCA competitor, and Nextel Cup Series veteran Ken Schrader. And, you know, guys, you never know what's going to happen, especially in the infield here at Talladega. It's like a city unto itself, but you also can't predict what's going to happen on this racetrack, Dan. So a lot of unknown variables here today.
No, you can't. Such a unique facility here for a driver that's never had any drafting experience. I tell you, it's tough. He's going to have to use his head to do it. We've got a lot of fast cars out here. We've got a lot of rookies that really don't have a whole lot of drafting experience. They've got to use their head. They've got to have good spotters. They've got to take their time. They've got to clear themselves. As Kenny could tell you, I'm sure you got to be careful. You got to be there at the end to win this race.
Well, most definitely, Dan, but we have a lot of rookies here in really good equipment with good teams that are in fast cars. So, boy, it's really going to be interesting, the experience with some of the veterans and the rookies with some real good cars. We also got some veterans with some good cars. I like when they interviewed Kimmel and Gerhart, and they had that gray hair. I kind of like that, you know, but they got to be looking for those other cats.
Kenny's going to tease me here today, but it's going to be the young cats against the older dudes today on the Super Speedway. Of course, as Don Radebach mentioned, Frank Kimmel already has the championship in the bag for the 6th time. Brent Sherman, a virtual lock on that 2nd place. But a great battle between T.J. Bell, Billy Venturini, and Jason Jarrett there, all trying to stay into the top 5. Christy Passmore right now 6th in points, and rounding out the top 10, the true independent out of Pennsylvania, Norm Benning. Let's get more from pit road. First, our Don Radebach.
From sprint cars to stock cars, I'd say the transition has gone very well for rookie Blake Feast. So well, in fact, that he won in only his 2nd series start at the Nashville Super Speedway. However, Blake, this is Talladega, a brand new animal for you. Your first go here. Is it really realistic to think that you can actually win here today?
Well, before happy hour, I wouldn't think so, but the CarQuest guys gave me a real good car for today. Felt real comfortable in the draft yesterday in happy hour. We've got Jimmy Johnson's spotter up top watching out for me, so we're looking forward to a good day.
All right, if he can stay solid in the seat, he's got some great eyes in the sky. Chris Osborne, who spots for Jimmy Johnson, will be watching and spotting here for Blake Feast today. Lindsay, where you at?
Don, I don't know. I'm standing by a hot young rookie. Maybe you've heard of him, Ryan Hemphill. He's only won 6 races so far this season. They came here to Talladega, qualified great, but they're starting in the back of the field because they had to switch an engine. Ryan, tell me how your car is now. Can you get it done?
We surely hope so. All the guys on the Trim Spot Braun Racing Dodge team have been working really hard this week, and had a lot of bad luck throughout the week. But the car was driving wonderful in practice, and we think we got a good shot at it today. Just starting back, got to be real patient and kind of work our way up through. It's a long race, so just kind of be patient. But got to thank all my guys in Ernie Elliott, Braun Racing, Trim Spot. It's been a wonderful year, and it's a shame it's over, but hopefully we'll go out of here with a win today.
Hey guys, if you remember, that's exactly where Paul Menard started this race last year in the back. He made it all the way up to the front, all the way to victory lane.
And of course, an exciting race here last year at the Talladega Superspeedway. Ryan Hemphill, not the only guy going to the rear of the field for an engine change. So are Norm Benning and also T.J. Bell. But T.J. Bell looking good in yesterday's practice session.
Yes, he did. What we're going to look for, I bet we can watch it. Ryan Hemphill's going to hook up with T.J. Bell, and they're going to go right to the run. They're 2 fast cars, and they're going to be there.
We will have a lot more from the Talladega Superspeedway in just a moment. Speed for some real racing with the ARCA REMAX Series on Speed Channel. It's been an unbelievable year to date, filled with triumphs and tribulations. Let's take a look.
The ARCA REMAX Series kicked off the season on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. Kyle Busch overcame a 1-lap penalty to win, while 5-time series champion Frank Kimmel finished a close second. Number 25, Billy Venturini, survived this last lap mayhem and came home third. Kimmel, who has never won at Daytona, would struggle through the Superspeedway portion of the 2004 season. Starting with the second race of the season at Nashville, the Young Guns emerged as the force to be reckoned with on the Superspeedway. After that last lap crash at Daytona, 23-year-old Ryan Hemphill, driving the Braun Racing number 64, would take the pole and lead the most laps. With 10 laps to go, Hemphill tangled with lap traffic. He would finish 15th. Bad luck for Hemphill, good luck for 22-year-old Blake Feast in the Gerhardt Racing number 5. A veteran of sprint car racing, Feast would be one of several development drivers to run the number 5 for the Gerhardt-Hendrick partnership. Although Ryan Hemphill's bad luck denied him the win at Nashville, he would make up for it the remainder of the season. Running a limited schedule for Ganassi Racing that included only the Superspeedways, Hemphill would become the class of the field. The 23-year-old from Apollo, Pennsylvania, went on to win 6 Superspeedway events. Other impressive debuts on the ARCA REMAX Series included 18-year-old Reed Sorensen, who in only his 2nd career series start, avoided some major mishaps on the day and won the 200-miler at Michigan by 6 seconds over veteran Matt Hagan. Matt Hagan turned over the wheel to Joey Miller at the 2nd Nashville race, and everyone took notice. After overcoming a 2-lap deficit, Miller in the number 9 would outpower the number 46 of Frank Kimmel. And then the number 5 car that won the spring race with Blake Feast was piloted by another rookie, Kyle Krisiloff. He led an impressive 41 laps, but would have to settle for 2nd to Miller. Krisiloff returned to the series at Chicagoland, where his fortunes were reversed. Starting from 9th, he would avoid the trouble that snagged other front runners, such as Joey Miller, Frank Kimmel, and Tim Steele. In only his 3rd career series start, the 18-year-old held off a late race charge by the 08 of T.J. Bell and became the 2nd driver to put the Gerhardt Racing team in victory lane this season. The ARCA REMAX Series is all about diversity, running the Superspeedways, the short track, and even the dirt miles. Frank Kimmel won 1 of 2 dirt track shows, but when it came to the short track program, that's where he would shine. Kimmel won 5 of the 7 short track races, giving up Toledo after this run-in with Billy Venturini. Ken Schrader would go on to win after Venturini received the black flag for that controversial tap. It looked as though Kimmel might add one more short track victory to his 2004 resume, the last race at Salem, Indiana. Kimmel sealed up his 2004 series championship just by coming through the gate, but after grabbing the pole and leading 2/3 of the race, he would tangle with lap traffic and finish 23rd. With Kimmel gone, the number 67, piloted by Jason Jarrett, who seems to always finish second at Salem, would end a 3-year drought and grab his second victory in 91 starts.
And today we will conclude the season on the big track here at Talladega. ARCA runs all sorts of racetracks, from the short tracks to the big tracks. There's a big difference between those cars, and our Dan Pardes takes a look at them.
In the world of stock car racing, you hear talk about two different types of race cars, a super speedway car and an intermediate car. The major difference is the aerodynamic drag and the downforce on these cars. When we come to a super speedway, we try to eliminate that downforce. There's a lot of things that the teams do to try to keep that downforce to a minimal. The kick out on these cars, which is where the spoiler reaches the bottom of the racetrack here, on a short track, you may want to pull that spoiler out as far as possible. On a super speedway, we get it back just as tight as we can. As the air works around the side of the race car, as you see, they make these fenders just as round as possible to keep the air to flow around this race car. You do not want this air to go over the hood of this race car. You want it to go around it. As we see the fender wells on this car, you can barely get your fingers in the fender wells of this car. Keeps the air from getting inside the car. Make that air go around the race car. Wow, you want to talk about speed? The rear spoiler of these race cars is everything. On this particular race car, we've added a ½ inch of rear spoiler height to the spoiler for the super speedway. And also, we have to maintain a 65-degree spoiler angle on this particular race car. And as you see, as the air flows around this race car, we've rolled the rear fenders of this race car off, just like we have the front. Your main objective here on the super speedways is to keep the air off the rear spoiler of these race cars. That creates less drag and less downforce. That's so important. The team that spends the most time on their race car in the shop will have the fastest car on the super speedways.
Even though these cars are smooth and very aerodynamic, I can guarantee you one thing: a few of them will have some donuts on the side of their cars when this race is said and done.
And now, race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome back Jim Evans to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
So Johnny Leonard, Keith Mert inside his race car there. He has Tony Stewart on the side of his race car for this particular race. The folks are ready for this one. Jason Jarrett trying to make it 2 in a row in the ARCA REMAX Series. Folks, the green flag is just moments away here in Alabama. Do not go away here on Speed. Hold off for the Food World 300 for the ARCA REMAX Series today at the Talladega Super Speedway. Let's not waste any more time and get right to the REMAX starting grid. On the pole, as Don Radebaugh mentioned, Frank Kimmel, Blake Beast on the outside pole for this one. In row number 2, Bobby Gerhart and Billy Venturini.
Talked to Billy just hours ago. He said, man, this is the best drafting race car I've ever had on the super speedway, best driving in or out of the draft. He said, I'm going to win this race here today.
The teenager Reed Sorensen and Keith Mert. Klaus Graf. Ken Schrader, you know a thing or two about him.
Oh, Klaus has run several races, ran 3rd in his ARCA debut at Nashville, and we're hoping to have him join us in the next tour next year.
Another teenager, Boston Reed and Stuart Kirby, all of 22 years old, one of the older guys in the series, and Christy Passmore right there. Had a great run last year, Dan, in Talladega.
Man, she did. She's come a long way. She's right there on the edge of finishing top 5 here today. Be the first female in the ARCA series to ever finish in the top 5 in national points. She has to use her head and be patient here today.
Denny Hamlin, part of the Gibbs Racing Project, a late model stock car veteran from Virginia. Chris Moore and Jim Walker in row number 10. And then there's A.J. Fike and Rich Woodland. And A.J. Fike, I'm surprised he didn't qualify better, Dan.
I talked to his crew chief, Cal Beaupre. He said, we've made a lot of changes. He said we really should have qualified better. Unfortunately, we didn't.
Hey, we saw Ray Cook right there, and I know he had a great run at the short track. Won the dirt late model race there against you.
Did he beat you, Kenny?
He won. He's a standout driver on the Stacker 2 Extreme Dirt Series. A good top-notch national dirt driver.
10th in points now in that Extreme Dirt Car Series. Joe Cooksey and Todd Bowser right there, and there's A.J. Hendrickson. He's going to have to go to the back of the field, too, for being late to tech. Brandon up in a new ride, the Greg Stark machine, and Benny Chastain. And there is Norm Benning and T.J. Bell, a mathematical, most likely, lock for Rookie of the Year. He's had a great year here, Ken.
That car, T.J. has run good every place he's been quite a contender.
Slipped the Hendricks motor in that car right before the race. He's got a bullet.
That's never a bad thing to do. Sometime before the checker flag, if you can stick one in there, it's really good.
Sure helps.
On board with Johnny Leonard today. He's a roofer from Florida. He will start 27th in that Boca Bay Builders number 13. Several onboard cameras today. Brack Maggard, a longtime veteran here in the ARCA REMAX Series. He will start 18th. Moving along. He won just a few weeks ago. Jason Jarrett starting 13th. He told me he's got an excellent car. Tom Sokolowski, the crew chief, thinks they could win this one here today.
Brand new race car for that team. Wagner power underneath the hood. Got good motor, got good car. Just need some good luck.
Moving up through the field, Keith Mert starting 6th. He's got Tony Stewart. You can see the smoke there on his roof. We'll explain more on that a little bit later on in the broadcast. And of course, on the pole today, the King Kimmel, now a 6-time ARCA REMAX Series champion in that Advanced Auto Parts number 46.
Frank and that whole team would love to win these restrictor plate races, but they know that winning their 6 championships, that's only 2 times a year, so they just they've concentrated on winning the championship more than this restrictor plate races, but they got their act together going into this race today.
113 laps the distance here today. The pit window about 45 to 50 laps. Lindsay?
Guys, Christy Passmore is so excited to get out on this track. Last year she was 5th at Talladega, but this morning she got her hands dirty in another way. She works with a charity called Believe in Tomorrow, and they brought 2 families of 2 terminally ill children into the garage. They got to hang out with Christy, they got to see the car, and they got to get their hands dirty with paint and put their handprints on the back of the car. Of course, Christy got involved. She said she loves doing this kind of thing, and she said, hey, maybe it'll even bring me some good luck.
One of the more famous guys in the garage area is Red Farmer. He's been involved with the ARCA REMAX Series for a long time. Yesterday, our Don Radebaugh, man, he was a lucky guy because he got to spend some time with the living legend, Red Farmer, a multi-time winner here in the ARCA REMAX Series.
Red, best as we can tell, you're one of only 2 guys in this entire ARCA garage that's ever won an ARCA race here at Talladega, yourself and Bobby Gearhart. How big of a deal is it to pull into victory lane at Talladega?
Well, it's always, and you win on the super speedway because most of the guys are considered, and I was, a short track driver. And when you can win on the world's fastest super speedway, that's a once in a lifetime deal. I was very fortunate to win it twice in 1984 and 1988, so I won the race twice here.
And you won in a Davey Allison-owned car, did you not, in '88?
That's right. Davey was my crew chief on that car. It was his car, and it was kind of ironic. I was working on his Bush team, and I would be the crew chief when I drove that. And we come to the ARCA race, it was his car. I drove it, and he was my crew chief. So it was kind of a fun deal, really.
Red Farmer spots for that guy, Jason Jarrett, starting 13th here today. You can see he's got a pole and a couple of career wins, one of them coming at the short track of Salem just a few weeks ago. And boy, to go from the short track, he would love to win here at the big track.
Oh, most definitely, you know, and his crew chief, Tom, has ran extremely well and won here with Tim Steele before. So they know what they're doing. This is one of the more solid teams in the ARCA Series. And you just know at the end of the day they're going to be right there.
A brand new race car for that 67 bunch as well. So they're doing a little experimenting here, trying to get prepared for next season as well. Now, we had a great field of 52 cars here. Several people didn't make the show. Mike Harmon from Alabama. I want to talk about Ken Weaver because he posted the 4th quickest time, but that time was disallowed for a restrictor plate violation, Ben.
Ooh, that's not a good thing. Yeah, they had a little problem there. Don't know exactly what it was. ARCA checked. They pulled these restrictor plates right after qualifying out of the top 10 cars and thoroughly go through them. And when they pulled it off, they didn't like what they seen, and it was something that I think was done intentionally.
I'm suspecting it was more than a little problem. Otherwise, they could have maybe worked it out. But this was like a really big problem.
Oh, big time. 16th of an inch here on the restrictor plate makes approximately 25 horsepower. So, man, it's just a little bitty change that you can make with them restrictor plates makes big horsepower.
A pocket knife in 10 seconds will pick you up 3 miles an hour.
Yep.
So it's extremely critical that you use the stock plate that they put on.
Absolutely, and it's unfortunate that happened to him.
On board with Johnny Leonard right there in that Boca Bay Builders number 13. But want to talk about the experience level. We hit on it at the top of the show. A couple of the guys, like Boston Reed, Blake Feast, have never drafted until this weekend. In fact, they were out there in qualifying runs, single, race car runs, and now they are drafting. Had a little taste of that yesterday.
Hardly anybody has ever drafted Daytona or Talladega type drafting until you come here for the first time. You just don't get that experience anyplace else. You're never ready when you come here the first time. But, ARCA has a good format of proven drivers to run at these places. They've excelled on the shorter tracks and other forms of vehicles. And it's like, hey, you've got to come here for the first time. And I guarantee you they'll represent themselves good.
And pretty interesting on the front row here, a young guy and the 6-time champion. It just shows you how good this ARCA REMAX series is. It breeds a lot of good young racers. That's what it's all about, the veterans against the young guys. Schrader, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Pardon, are you ready?
Tighten my belt.
Ready to rock. Folks, hold on to your lug nuts. It's time to go racing at Talladega.
It looked like Frank Kimmel was ready, too.
Great start. We like that.
He beat the young kid. How about that?
Kenny, as you know, so nice to get a good jump on the super speedway to get out front there.
Well, what the front row wants to do is get single file real quick so the second row doesn't just trounce them down coming here off number 2, and they accomplish that.
Schrader, we see the cars getting up to speed, but how long will it take them to get up to speed here at the super speedway?
It'll be at the end of their second lap before they're actually up to full speed.
Blake Feast right behind Frank Kimmel. Right now, I would assume Blake Feast, the young kid, never drafted in a race-type situation. Maybe can learn a lesson or two from the king.
Now, right now, he just wants to stay right there in line. For viewers at Daytona and Talladega, when your car's right, unless you run up on someone because of the draft, this is a never let up, never touch the brake pedal racetrack. That's the only 2 of them that we have.
You see the guy in third was the number 5 of Bobby Gerhart. When he goes back a little bit in the field, you see the orange and white car. That's Christy Passmore. Just in front of her is the Serta number 44 for Brent Sherman, second in points. A lot of dicing going on right now, and you can see Billy Venturini. He showed us a lot at Daytona earlier this year, battling in the top 5, battling for that victory. Keith Merck trying to pull along with him right now. And then you have the number 7 car there as well, the Ditech.com number 7.
And the Venturinis have been ARCA racing forever. His daddy, Bill, a former champion. And in the last 2 years, their super speedway program, their whole program, but especially their super speedway program, has just continued to improve. This is real impressive that Boston is able to hang to the outside of him like he did there for a while, but they're getting away on him now.
Schrader and Pardis, you've been around the ARCA REMAX series for a long time, and that paint scheme on that 25, very recognizable from 1987, I believe.
That goes back to, I believe, Bill with the Permatex cars there with those colors, wasn't he?
Lindsay, you got more?
You guys are absolutely right. It is 1987, and that was the year that Bill had the Ultra Blue crew. It was an all-gal pit crew, of course, with his wife, Kathy, who was leading the pack. She was a tire changer. That was the very first year that Bill won his first ARCA championship. He said those girls practiced their butts off, and we think that that's where Billy Venturini gets his work ethic.
And the story about that race car is we see 2 and 3 wide racing all over the place. But Billy Venturini, he went up to his dad and said, Dad, I want to do something different. I want to honor you because, of course, you set the track record here back in 1987. I want to paint the car like you had in 1987. And he's even got the block letters. You know, Billy usually has the signature on the roof of that car. He's got the block letters like his dad did.
That's so cool, you know, to take after your dad. I talked to Billy earlier. I said, Billy, you need to leave the car that color. Look how great it is. Look how good it runs. He just kind of looked at me, and his dad laughed. He said, I've been telling him that for years. We need to make that car white. I said, if it goes that fast all the time, you need to do it for all the tracks.
You know, we see there that on the stats for the show, Billy hasn't won in the ARCA series yet, but he knocked on the door so much, and he had it opened up a couple times, and it got close
See lots of stuff going on here. The Ditech.com car for Boston Reed, one of the teenagers in the field today, getting some drafting experience. We'll have more when we come back to Talladega. A sunshiny day today in Alabama. We're at the Talladega Super Speedway for the ARCA REMAX Series. Your top 5 right now: Frank Kimmel, Blake Spieth, Bobby Gerhart, Reed Sorensen, and Billy Venturini. Don?
Wanted to mention something about Frank. I talked to him earlier. I asked if he might be paired up with someone out there in a deal in the draft. He said, well, when your car is this good as the 46 car is, you don't have to make deals because they'll come and race with you. And it certainly looks like they are. I want to make one more comparison here. That car that's following him, that Hendrick Motorsports car with Blake Spieth. Hendrick Motorsports has 486 employees in all. To make a champion in the ARCA REMAX Series, the Kimmel team, they have 5 full-time employees. Frank and Bill Kimmel, his crew chief and brother, are 2 of those employees. They take all their team with them on the road. It's a tight effort. I'll tell you what, they do a lot with a little. They're doing a lot today at a big track, big time in Talladega.
Billy Venturini right now maybe going to get hung out to dry. The draft oh so important here in restrictor plate racing. We saw that happen with him at Daytona. Right now, Schrader, he's got no friends.
Now, it looks like he might be able to wiggle in here. I don't know. He's in a little bit of trouble right now, but it just happens so easy. That's why he's thinking that right now he's happy that they're working lap 9 and that it's not lap 109 because he definitely lost some positions there.
Martis, let's take a look at this. We got Ryan Hemphill, the winner of 6 Super Speedway races this year, moving his way through the field. Lindsey told you earlier that he started in the rear of the field, and Lindsey, he is coming on strong.
This is exactly how he planned it, Bob. During qualifying was when his motor overheated. They changed the motor. They got a new one from Marty Elliott. He said it wouldn't work right off the bat, but they finally got it in gear. They were able to get about 30 minutes of practice time. They thought they were having a little issue. He said when they were running in the draft, the car would not suck up to the car in front of him like he wanted to, but obviously they fixed the problem.
Pardis, he is now up to 13th, working his way right behind Dan Shaver.
Great run there. He knows what he has to do. He has to stay in line, but he has to move forward. Just a great horsepower underneath that hood, that Braun racing car. He was excited before the race. He said, I'm going to the front. He said, I'm going to do it in a hurry.
When you're going to the front on the outside, now he's going to be able to come up by yourself. Now Billy Venturini is thinking like, come on, Ryan, come on, get up there. Because that's all he's going to need to help give him a push back up there. That's extremely strong when you can do that on the outside. We know this whole thing. It's less drag is the same thing as more horsepower. And I would say he's got pretty good of everything. But we're starting to see some activity back there now.
As you say, it's just free help. You have to get in there. You have to find a dancing partner. As you see Ryan pull up on the back of Billy saying, boy, this is my saving grace. I've got to get back in line. It's so important to get back in line and not get hung out. But Ryan's happy because he's got a car that's going to the front. It looks like he can almost do it by himself.
Don, you got more on that trim spa Dodge?
Well, Bob, it should be no surprise that Ryan Hemphill's going to the front. In 13 starts this year, he has led 515 laps in 10 races, 6 wins, 6 poles. And remember, Lindsey talked about they had to put a backup motor in this car. They got the backup motor from Chip Ganassi, the 77 car of Reed Sorensen. So we know the power is perfect. And it looks like Ryan Hemphill is pretty good today, too. Headed towards the front at Talladega.
That's the Silver Fox. Don Rademacher always coming up with those ARCA facts. Lots of squiggling and squirgling going on right now, Schrader.
Oh, most definitely. Talked before about the number of employees at Hendrick Motorsports, 480 of them to get Blake Spieth to run second there behind Frank's 5 people right now. That's what I love so much about the ARCA Series. Besides being on the dirt tracks and the super speedways, you can come here with any type of budget and compete somehow.
I want to talk about the guys running 2nd and 4th right now. They are both part of that Hendrick driver development program. Blake Spieth and Boston Reed. Boston Reed is in that Ditech number 7, and he is showing pretty good today here for a teenager. But I asked both of them, are you guys as teammates going to run together and really work together today to stay up front? They said absolutely not. We are out there to do the best that we can. We are not only competing on the racetrack, but for a possible ride next year in that Hendrick organization.
Well, that's more competition than you could ever imagine, competing for a job like that, especially in this business. But You know, both of them have proven to be real good. This is only one race. This isn't a make or break deal, but it'll be a good place to shine.
Guys, look at that. There's some 14 cars back in the lead draft. It's unbelievable. We're spreading out there a little bit, but they really got packed back together here.
Keith Mert, Denny Hamlin, a lot of guys bunched up together there. Lindsay, you got more from pit road?
I do. Blake Pease, he started second in the same car that Kyle Busch started second with and ended up taking the victory lane in Daytona this year. So we know people around the garage have been saying he has the absolute car to beat, and we know a lot of these guys are trying to wheel and deal with him today.
Blake Pease tested here just a short time ago, but when they tested, Dan, they had a little rain. And the Cup Series was here as well, so Blake and Jimmy Johnson, the Nextel Cup Series star, actually sat together a little bit. And Blake said, you know, Jimmy, I need to know something about the draft. So Jimmy took out a bunch of sugar packets that were actually in the transporter and explained the draft much like I think it was in the movie Days of Thunder with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise.
Yes.
But I don't think it was along those lines. And that's how Jimmy Johnson explained the draft to Blake Pease.
Well, if he got the point across, that's the main thing. All he needs to do is know what that air is doing.
Now let's see if he can get to victory lane.
There's nobody better than George Strait.
But it's a foolhardy memory. Under caution for the first time today for the ARCA REMAX Series at the Talladega Super Speedway. Christy Passmore in the gap roofing number 91 hits the wall very hard here, so we are under caution. Christy Passmore, 6th in points, was vying for the first top 5 for a woman in this particular series. Her car has come to rest on the grass in the tri-oval. A very tough lick for Christy Passmore. Frank Kimmel leading this race with Blake Pease in second and Bobby Gerhart third. 16 of 113 laps in the books here today at Talladega. Plenty of dicing going on with Frank Kimmel and Blake Pease, and a lot of guys in that top 10. We'll have more from Talladega in just a moment, live here today on Speed. Hogwash about the world of motorsports, particularly here in the NASCAR garage area. Pitbull live from Talladega tonight at 6:30 p.m. and we hear a very special guest maybe stopping by to razz those boys just a little bit. Here at Talladega today, for the ARCA REMAX Series, we mentioned that Frank Kimmel is your leader, but we are under caution for a very hard hit by Christy Passmore in the number 91.
Drivers that need to come in and make any adjustments, this would be a good opportunity for them. It's early in the game, some 16 laps in. Your car's overheating, Kenny. You would probably come in and make some adjustments.
Now would be a time to come in, pull off some tape. You know, obviously it's going to be a few more laps to get everything cleaned up. So you're getting you the best part of half of a fuel run.
Right.
So you might want to think about something right now.
Yep, it would put you out of sync a little bit. It's pretty important to stay in sync on that fuel run, is it not? I mean, you can still come back in, I guess, at lap 40 to 45, even if you took fuel now.
No, it's just pretty important to have a lot of fuel.
And guys, we're looking at Jason Jarrett on board with him. He is now running 30th after starting 13th. Lindsay, what's up there?
Well, Jason Jarrett was so excited about his car because they really thought it was super fast, that they were going to be big contenders. Like you said, Bob, they have fallen to 30th. I went and talked to Tom Sokolowski, his crew chief. He said they're having some sort of brake problem. But like you said before, they want to wait and follow the leader and not come into the pits until they absolutely have to.
I'll tell you, brakes, Kenny, and you could probably talk about it a little bit. Brakes, you tell people you have problems with brakes on a super speedway, but you really, really have to have brakes because there's a big wreck in front of you. You can't be out there running wide open and not have any brake pedals.
Well, just plus the speed that you carry coming into the pits. You know, you have to get slowed down from 180 to 55 mile-an-hour pit road speed. Plus, a lot of times you'll drag the brakes in the draft instead of letting off throttle. You'll give it a little bit of brake and keep the engine wound up. keep from running over somebody.
I think a lot of people that don't really understand that, sometimes they think when you run up on a guy, you got to let out the gas, but it's so important to keep your foot on the gas pedal and just use that brake pedal, because once that motor loses vacuum, it takes a whole lap or possibly 2 laps to get that horsepower back.
Frank Kimmel is out front. We'll go down to Don Radebaugh, who's with his brother, I believe.
Brother and crew chief as well. We talked earlier in the broadcast that Frank had only led 2 laps way back in 1994. Really had to search the record books for that one, but he's up front today. Obviously, the car is doing very well, as is Frank. How about a status report so far from the crew chief?
He really hasn't talked too much. I think he held his breath the first 10 laps. You know, he's never been there. He says it's a different site he's had before. But the Advanced Auto Parts Sport car really and truly done awfully well today. He said it might be a little tight, but other than that, everything seems really good.
Will you do anything for that little tight, or is it not that bad?
Right now, no, if it gets worse, the tires go old, we might do some changes as it comes in on our first stop. But right now, we're awful happy with it right now.
Fuel window, 45, 50 laps?
Yeah, I think so. Depending on the number of yellows, I would say somewhere around 45 to 55 laps after coming in.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the 46 car as well. They are leading at Talladega, that's why.
For all you A.J. Hendrickson fans, the number 17 was on pit road, is on pit road, had the hood up. The crew going to work on that car. Frank Kimmel on board with the Advanced Auto Parts number 46. We are under caution for a hard lick by Christy Passmore. There is the number 10, the Petro Express car for Denny Hamlin. He is part of the Gibbs Racing Driver Development Program in a Dan Shaver car here.
I got to race with Denny at New Hampshire in the Craftsman Truck Series, and raced with him quite a bit, and he did an excellent job. He's definitely going to be around this sport for a number of years.
Lindsay?
Quick update for you. Denny Hamlin is loving his car. He just got on the radio and said that it feels great. It's the fastest thing out there. They said they're going to keep him out there until they got to bring him in.
I watched Denny Hamlin on the short tracks around the Carolinas and Virginia, and let me tell you something. In a late model stock car, he can really kick butt. He knows how to put the throttle to the floor, work that brake, and bring it to the front of the field. We'll see if he can do that here at Talladega more when we come back.
Look closely at history in the making. This is the first.
While we were away, pit road opened, and a bunch of people came down to make their stops, including that guy, the Trim Spa Dodge for Ryan Hemphill in the number 64. Frank Kimmel, your leader, he did stay out, as did Blake Feast and Bobby Gerhart, your top 3. Well, we have great technology here in the booth, Dan Partis. We are going to attempt to speak to our leader and 6-time ARCA REMAX Series champion, Frank Kimmel.
Frank Kimmel, Dan Partis in the booth. You copy? Frank Kimmel, Dan Partis in the speed booth. You copy?
As I said, we were going to attempt...
Call speed channel, trying to talk to you. Can you hear them at all?
You know, it might not be our technology, because I've talked to Frank before, and it's like he's not even listening. So it could just be that.
Absolutely. We'll have to try him later.
As we mentioned, we are under caution for a hard crash by Christy Passmore. 16 points coming into this particular race. There is her car that came to rest on the grass in the Tri-Oval here at Talladega. And here's what happened to Christy Passmore. I believe it happened just behind these cars here. You see a lot of bobbing and weaving going on.
Now, that was a hard hit. She just got loose, a hard hit. This is a vicious hit there.
It's not good when we make impact the left side of that car back across the racetrack. Phew, that could have been real bad.
Medics working with her right now. There is another look at a very vicious hit.
Wow. That is a vicious hit.
We are told that Christy has been speaking to medical personnel. That is, of course, a good sign.
Well, and we see it. We see the personnel down there taking a long time with Christy, but that's because our standard of care and the way they extract the drivers from the car now has been raised so much that they take all the precautions and really do everything, not knowing, you know, what kind of injuries might be there. So they're extremely careful extracting the people from the cars now.
Christy Passmore, a former open wheel standout from Oklahoma, had run sprint cars for many years, cut her teeth on the short track all over the country, now coming here to the ARCA REMAX Series to climb the ladder some more. She has gained valuable experience in this series and actually has some aspirations of doing some NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series or Busch Series racing next year. Lindsay?
As the ARCA REMAX Series continues to grow, they have a lot more planning ahead for the future, and yesterday we were able to attend a news conference where they talked about some of those exciting changes.
Also, I want to tell you that I think it's extension.
It sounds like you guys have some exciting changes. Can you sum them up for us?
Well, Lindsay, a lot of what we're doing is traditional and consistent with what we've done. But, yeah, we've got some excitement coming on. We're going to be running at the Milwaukee Mile, the mile track in West Allis, Wisconsin, and that's great for us to venture into a new market. We're going to get back to the Atlanta market by going to Lanier National Speedway. So those are new things, and they're exciting things, and we're going to have a second race at Michigan International Speedway. Those are good things for our series, and everybody's pretty excited about it.
How do you think those things will benefit the series and keep it with forward momentum?
You know, racing is about sponsorship. We all know that, and these are new markets for us. They're markets that we're able to take our series into. The sponsors are very happy about it, and the track operators in those facilities are excited about us coming there. So we're really looking forward to taking the ARCA REMAX Series to these racetracks.
Plenty of racing next year here on the ARCA REMAX Series. 2 new tracks added to the schedule. Ryan Hemphill on pit road with the rear deck lit up. What's that all about?
Well, if it was me, I'd be pulling spacers out of the fuel cell to make it hold more fuel or something.
Let's not talk about that with that team, because we all know what happened a little bit earlier this year.
Oh, yeah, but that would be a good thing to do.
Possibly having trouble getting fuel into that race car, and sometimes their breather hose get kinked and you try to put fuel in it, you cannot get fuel in it, so great opportunity for them to come in now and resolve that problem.
You see the Bennigan's number 67 there for Jason Jarrett and that crew working on the left side of that car. What might they be doing at this time?
I really don't know. They could be pulling the rubber out of the left rear or putting one in the left front or something. With the ARCA rules, I don't think you could be doing that now that I think about it, because they mandate the spring rate. But something they wanted to adjust for sure.
Christy Passmore has been removed from her race car. She has been put into the ambulance, and here she is right here. She did wave to the crowd, and that is oh so good to see. One of Ken Schrader's favorite shows, Speed News Saturday tonight at 7 p.m. We've been here all weekend in the garage area at Talladega. Kim Novak, Jason Avery, Phil Kelly, Clint, and the boys putting together all the scoop from the garage area, plus a whole lot more from the world of motorsports. Lindsay?
The 25 car of Billy Venturini and the 10 car of Denny Hamlin did not pit, like you guys were saying. The reason for that is because their crew chiefs were playing a version of Let's Make a Deal, and they did that so that their drafting together can only improve, and they think if they stick together, they can really end up right up front. Hey, 64's pitting.
Ryan Hemphill coming back down pit road. You can see Boston Reed there in that Ditech.com number 7, but from what we were just told, and the overflow bracket in that trunk broken. Lindsay?
That's exactly what they just told us, Bob. I talked to Greg Tester, Ryan's crew chief, and he said that they broke off the bracket for that overflow, and they think they'll be able to get him right back out there. Obviously not. Obviously, they brought him back in here. So, Don, what do you got?
Well, one of the cars that did pit was the 7th car, the Ditech.com car of Boston Reed, and one of the reasons why is he had damage to his right front fender. While we were watching that Christy Passmore crash, he was one of the cars that actually wiggled and bounced off one of the other cars. They came down pit road, they had damage to the right front fender and balance. They pitted for 4 tires, took out a rubber in the right rear, made a track bar adjustment, and did their best to patch up that number 7 race car. He's been a busy guy this year. He's got 60 sprint car races on his calendar, wing and non-wing, plus the full USAC Silver Crown schedule. That's 12 races, plus all this ARCA Hendrick Motorsport stuff. He's been a busy guy all season long. He's busy here today at Talladega.
And last week he was at the 4 Crown in Eldora and took a wild ride end over end in a Silver Crown car. Here's the schedule for next year for the ARCA REMAX Series. Schrader Partis going to some great venues, including Lanier National Speedway. I've been there before. The short track, a 3/8 of a mile speedway. Boy, there's going to be some bumping and banging there.
Oh, that'll be a good show. And I believe the Milwaukee racetrack, isn't that like the oldest racetrack in the United States, I believe, that's still active?
I believe you are correct, Ken Schrader. You are just a wealth of knowledge about the world of motorsport.
I don't know about that, but I know we're getting ready to go back green, so we can go back racing here.
And that's good to see again. The green flag will fly. The car to the inside, a lap car. Frank Kimmel going to lead them to green. Blake Feast is second. Bobby Gerhart third. Billy Venturini now fourth. And Denny Hamlin in that Petro Express number 10 is fifth. His teammate, Dan Shaver, is just behind him.
These guys that didn't pit, I mean, we're halfway through a fuel window, so this thing went green for a long time. If it would do that again, they could potentially be looking at a green flag stop, which is very costly here.
We said earlier the pit window about 45 to 50 laps. We're on lap number 26 right now. If you want to find out where your favorite driver is running the field, you can look at the ticker at the top of the screen. Blake Feast just seems content right now, Partis, to just ride behind Frank Kimmel, and maybe that's a good move.
Such a smart move for a rookie to come out here and follow an old-time veteran like Frank Kimmel. Do it. Just follow Frank, stay in line, listen to your spotter. He's got some good help there on the roof. He's got some Hendricks help there talking to him in his ear. That's the best thing he can do here today.
Blake Feast just a couple years ago surprised everybody at the dirt track of the Lowe's Motor Speedway by winning a World of Outlaws race with a 3-year-old engine.
Yeah, I remember that night. Blake's run good, like I said, in the wing or non-wing cars, and you know, very impressive at Nashville this year, and it's been impressive all year. But to jump right in one of these cars and win your first time out with not much stock car experience, that's very impressive.
Don, you got more on that CarQuest car?
Well, I really do. We were talking about making deals, and he tried to make a deal with Frank Kimmel yesterday. He thought it would be a good idea that he lead the race at the start because he tried to plead the case with Frank that you wouldn't want a brand-new green rookie like me behind you. Wouldn't you rather have me in front of you? Kimmel just kind of laughed and shrugged it off. He said, well, I'll try it again tomorrow, but it doesn't look good.
Yellow flag, Don. Debris on the backstretch. Caution out for the second time here today at Talladega. There it is.
We ought to have somebody running around here with the tire kind of flat, I would think.
Yep, little piece of tire there smoking on the...
And it looks like we do have somebody coming down pit road there. There's the 84 for Norm Benning. You can see the right rear tire.
Such a great thing to have interliners in these tires, Kenny. You can tell us you've raced without interliners and interliners. What a great invention.
Oh, most definitely. Now, what you see there that looks like the tire is just the sidewall of the tire. The whole casing came off. We'll see it as he pulls it off here. You just see the sidewall. Now the interliner is up right there, but it's like a little miniature tire inside the tire, and it's been a huge safety contribution. I think maybe in the 70s, something like that, they came up with that.
Great innovation in stock car racing, because before, when your tire went down, you were on your rim, you usually turned sideways.
It's a big racetrack when you can bring out your yellow and stay on the same lap.
Norm Benning, 10th in points coming into here. 3 top 5s this year, including a couple of 4th place runs on the short track. One of the under-budgeted teams here in ARCA, but a true independent. That guy right there, Denny Hamlin in the 10 car, running in 5th, the Petro Express machine, and we saw his teammate, as I mentioned just before, Dan Shaver, running just behind him, but couldn't quite keep up with him when the green flag did come out. There's Keith Mert and the smoke machine.
Welcome back. We are currently down on pit road, and what you're watching is Denny Hamlin's number 10 car. Said the car feels great. They brought it in. They intended on giving him 2 new tires, but track position is too crucial to downrate him off.
With Frank Kimmel, right side tires already going on the Advanced Auto Parts Sport car. This will be a 4-tire stop. No adjustments necessary. We talked earlier that the car was a little tight. Frank said it's not tight enough to mare up. I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it. 4 tires and fuel stalls the car. Now
26 pits. And that's something you don't ordinarily see from that Advanced Auto Parts team for Frank Kimmel and crew chief Bill Kimmel.
No, such a well-trained team. But unfortunately, Kenny can tell us, the professionals, guys that do this day in and day out, that happens. But they did the right thing, Kenny. Don't you agree? They backed the car up. They fixed the problem right then rather than go out and lose another lap.
You can overcome that problem as long as you don't go out there and let that problem cause a bigger problem. They'll overcome that problem.
And you saw Bill, his brother, and crew chief pretty aggravated, slapping his hands together on that shot. So very frustrating for that Pork the Other White Meat crew.
Would have been neat if we could actually hurt Bill, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe not. We might have had to have a few bleeps in there.
Frank Kimmel, Dan Partis in the booth. You copy? Frank Kimmel, Dan Partis in the speed booth. You copy?
Dan, don't know if I'd want to talk to you right now either.
Yeah.
No, he's probably a little hot.
Let's talk to Bill instead. I want to talk to Bill.
Bill would be the one to talk to.
Yeah. Oh, we better go green.
Yeah, I think we better just go back racing because we would have to bleep a lot there, I think.
These guys are a lot bigger than I am. They'd hurt me.
Yes, they would. Going back to green flag. Hey, look at this. Todd Boucher in the GFS Marketplace, number 21 up front. Reed Sorensen, the teenager in the Target Dodge, part of that Ganassi driver development program. Up front as we go, green flag racing once again. Third place to number 13 for the affordable roofing car for Johnny Leonard. And there he is on board with Johnny. Hey, an interesting thing about Johnny, of course, Florida has been just hit with many hurricanes, 4 in like the last 6 weeks or so. He has a roofing business in Florida. He said he is getting over 1,000 phone calls a day. Had to hire an answering service just to deal with that. He's been working nonstop, all of his guys, night and day to help people out down there. Started working on that car last Saturday. This is his first little vacation since that happened.
So I can confess to that. I live in Daytona Beach, and man, we've just been getting hammered down there. It's been rough. And, you know, the roofers, they've been working day and night, the tree guys, but we're finally getting things turned back around.
Our thoughts go out to everybody who is suffering down there in Florida from those hurricanes and all the damage.
Joe Cooksey, nice pass in the third place right there, and brings Mark Gibson along with him.
Them two guys are old-time friends there, so they probably talked a little bit, and they may work together here for a while. I talked to Mark, got a DEI engine in that 59 entry of Mark Gibson. Said, man, this is the best race car Danny I've ever had on the Super Speedway.
Johnny Leonard fading back just a little bit, but the guy on the move at least, it looks as though up front is Boston Reed. He is in third right now, trying to draft with his fellow teenager, Reed Sorensen. Todd Boucher trying to stay out front.
And he's doing it so far. So that's got to be quite a little boost for the Boucher team right now.
Don Radeboff,
alongside Bill Kimmel, Frank's brother and crew chief. Obviously a miscue on pit road. At least it looked that way. What happened?
It was that way, Don. We just messed up. We dropped the jack too quick. We didn't have all the run for the left rear, so we had to send him back in the box.
It's hard enough to win at Talladega as is, but with mistakes like this, it's sometimes impossible.
Yeah, it didn't do us any good at all because it put us way in the back right now. It looks like he's fallen back on pit. We got to get back up to the draft and see if we can hold on for a little bit longer. Maybe we'll make it up next stop.
Okay, we'll keep a sharp eye on it. That's Bill Kimmel hoping for better things down the road.
And guys, we have a new leader, Reed Sorensen, who won at Michigan in his second career start in the ARCA REMAX Series. Boston Reed comes with him. He is in second place right now. But we want to talk about a bunch of guys in the top 5, including T.J. Bell, the possible Rookie of the Year for the ARCA REMAX Series. Dan, you said with that Hendrick motor, he's going to be awfully tough, and he's moving up.
Came from the back, as me and Kenny said, hey, the best thing you can do on a super speedway is put a Hendrick motor in that car right before the race. They did that. Boy, it proved to be good here today.
Lindsay, what do you got for us?
I'm down here in the 77 pit of Reed Sorensen. They pitted last on lap 20. They gave him 4 tires and fuel, and he's been talking back saying this car is running good.
Want to mention third place, that 06 machine that you see there is Jim Walker having a great run here today as well. A bunch of rookies. Take a look at that. Look at the back bumpers right there. We get another shot of that. A bunch of yellow stripes on the back bumpers there for Reed Sorensen, for Boston Reed, for Jim Walker, for T.J. Bell. Of course, not for Mark Gibson, but the top four right now, all with those yellow stripes that we see right there.
Yeah, you know, when you see yellow stripes, it's to tell you that be careful. You might not know what's going to happen, but at Talladega, you don't know what's going to happen anyway, you know, no matter who you're coming up on. So, like I say, these kids are ready when they get here. I mean, your first time here's a thrill anyway, but it's got to happen.
Lap number 35. Ryan Hemphill stepping up into the mix as well. Another rookie competitor here in the ARCA REMAX Series, trying to follow the number 75 of Stuart Kirby. Mark Gibson in that Williams Brothers Lumber car, the number 59 on the inside, maybe getting hung out to dry, almost pretty wide action. Don Radebaugh, what do you got on Mark Gibson?
Well, we've been talking a lot about those rookies and the power plants they had through Hendrick Motorsports and Ganassi Racing, who utilizes the Elliott engine. But Mark Gibson actually has a DEI motor in that thing today. DEI does a little research and development in the ARCA REMAX Series as well, and these days they're doing it through Winder, Georgia driver Mark Gibson, who's given it a heck of a run today in the Williams Brothers Lumbers Chevrolet.
And of course, the connection for Mark Gibson there to DEI, his brother Tony, the crew chief on the number 1 car. And that's the connection for the DEI engines in that Williams Brothers number 59. Ryan Hemphill jumps to the inside of Stuart Kirby there. He is looking good. There is Frank Kimmel trying to work his way back through the field as well.
Back in 21st, moved from the back of the pack. It just has to be so careful moving through this pack, but he has to be aggressive. Again, you got to keep your foot in the gas pedal and try and make the right moves, and hopefully you got a good spotter to work with you.
Blake Beach, you saw him in that CarQuest number 94. Man, he's been pushing everybody around, trying to work his way back through the field as well. The 42 of Chris Moore and the 99 of Klaus Graf right there, flying by Frank Kimmel.
Yeah, Frank's kind of trapped down on there inside right now, and it's cost him a little ground.
The number 1 of Sam Haferteeth ran oh so well at Nashville in the top 5 all day long, now in an Andy Belmont ride. 37 laps in the books, and now it's getting good, folks. Go away. Track for a reason. We are under caution for the 3rd time here today for a big wreck and a wild ride by several competitors. Reed Sorensen out front, but let's take a look at this, Brady.
Yeah, car got into the inside of this car, bounced off him, right rear the car on the inside of him, turned him up. That's all it took.
Can't tell who was in the middle from that particular view, but whoever that was hit Ed Kennedy in that 00, and then Ed Kennedy came up and just wiped out Keith Merck. Here's another view. And now this is the view. You can see Joe Cooksey in the 1-800-SERV Pro number 23 also involved. So is Brandon Nupp in the number 38. Brian Gandy in that blue car. A.J. Fike in the 11 also involved.
Frank Kimmel just slides by on the bottom of the race.
No, that's the number 56. 56 of Brian Gandy, the 58 of Justin Ashburn in that blue car.
Looks like Bobby Gerhardt down on the bottom of the apron there too, Bob. Like you said, he just made it by.
Keith Merton, that number 19 car. The big victim there, running on the outside, gets collected up in that wreck. A.J. Fike in the Andy Hillenberg machine. One of the Rookie of the Year competitors here. Boy, a great battle between him and T.J. Bell. A little bit of damage to that car, but not a lot.
Nope, a little right side damage, but hopefully won't affect it too much. Frank Kimmel, Dan Partisan in booth. You copy?
Dan, do you and Frank...
I think he can hear you when he's on the front stretch.
I don't think he likes you, Dan.
Yeah, do you guys get along good?
Let's try him one more time. There he's on the front stretch. Frank Kimmel, Dan Partisan in booth. You copy?
He may be having a pork sandwich or something inside that race car. So we're gonna let Frank kind of collect his thoughts there, and and continue on with the broadcast here. But Bobby Gerhart, you mentioned actually also involved in that wreck. We saw as he pulled out of pit road that he had a bunch of damage, a bunch of sheet metal just torn off the side of that race car.
Yep, Bobby,
he skated by on the apron, just not all of his cars skated by. He left some there.
Schrader, Pardon, what are you doing tonight? Woo. I know what you're doing. You're watching this, the Legends from Talladega tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, live on Speed Channel. Actually, you know, I was mistaken. You know, a bunch of us will be watching that show, which will be partly produced by Pete Richards, who's listening to us in the truck right now. But Schrader will be across the track at the short track. I think an eighth place run for you last night at the short track.
Yeah, we got to try to improve upon that. But I'll be taping the show so I can watch.
There you go. How about that? He's going to use the old TiVo. But there's Bobby Gerhart on pit road with that sheet metal torn away from the side of that race car for the Lucas Oil number 5. Don?
Yeah, they're going to go to work on it again. They have already been down pit road once. Fortunately, the caution flag's out. They can sort of take their time, so to speak, at Talladega Super Speedway at 2.66 miles around. They go to work on the right side, trying to pull bent and damaged sheet metal away from the Lucas Oil Chevrolet. Now they're going to work their way to the left side and go with left side tires as well. Bobby Gerhart, the only former winner in the field, won this race back in 2001, two-time Daytona ARCA 200 winner as well. No one really knows the restrictor plate business more within the ARCA ranks as well as this team does. Hopefully they can get him ship-shape and ready, but as you know, Schrader, any body damage here as he stalls the race car, stalls more of a wound than any damage to a race car at Talladega is not a good thing.
Oh, it's definitely going to slow the 5 car down considerable. Body is critical here.
A bunch of folks on pit road, including Ed Kennedy and Brad Smith. Folks, if you're in the Talladega area tonight, go see Schrader over at the Talladega short track. A great run for him last night.
There's
41 laps already completed here for the ARCA Remax Series, the Food World 300 at the Talladega Super Speedway. That kid, Reed Sorensen, going for his second win here in 3 attempts in the ARCA Remax Series. He is your leader. Way back in the 15th spot, we've seen him up in the top 5 here today. Billy Venturini trying to work his way back through the field. And, Dan, we're going to see if you're friends now with Billy Venturini.
Billy Venturini, Dan Partisan of Speed Booth. Copy.
Look at Speed Channel.
Hey, buddy, how you doing out there? I know you bounced back and forth there through the course of this race, but it looks like you got a great race car. You said it was drafting really good yesterday. How's it working for you today?
Car's really awesome. I'm one of the few guys out here I think that could really make some things happen, really be able to pass people. Car's good, sucking up good, real happy with it. You know, it's just, we're back just a little bit because of pit sequences, but I think the 94, me and maybe Kimmel will be heading back up to the front real soon.
That's key. Looks like everybody's been behaving pretty well out there today. You talked about just taking 2 tires on that first pit stop. Did you just end up taking 4?
Yes, sir. We ended up taking 4. We didn't know how things were going to shake out exactly, and I knew the 46 was taking 4, and so was the 94. They seem to be the 2 best cars I got to race with today. The 7's also good, so you know, you got to do what the cars that you got to beat, and them are the ones that we were really racing hard. So we decided to go 4 with them, not give either one of us an advantage.
Got you, Billy. Hey, looked like you just slipped by that last wreck there. What'd you see there?
I couldn't really see. I know I saw the 0 and 00 and the 19 and 42 all got in it. Who knows what happened. I saw it happen about 500 feet before it happened. But that's just usually how it is behind the race car. See, you know, hopefully the rookies will just keep their heads so we can get to the end.
Well, keep up what you're doing because you got a great run there going today, and hopefully we can see you in victory lane.
That's the plan, guys. Thanks a lot.
Billy Venturini running in the 15th spot. You just saw that replay of the big wreck again, and we were wondering who the black car was in the middle. That was the 42 of Chris Moore. He was the one that got into Ed Kennedy in the 00, who then went up into Keith Merck. Don Radebau's been wearing out a pair of shoes on pit road, and I know you got more for us, Don, don't you?
Yeah, I've been wearing out my PF Flyers. That'll date me for sure. Now I'm going to wear out Bill Venturini, who has stepped out of the box, so to speak. Down here making a deal with Joey Cudmore, crew chief on the 99 car of Klaus Graff. What sort of deal are we looking at here?
Well, while you're talking to me, I'm listening to my spotter and Billy talking about the 46 and the 99 car.
What are you doing here? Tell me about the deal, man. What's the deal?
Well, there's no deal. The deal is you got to have help here. You cannot go from the back to the front without help. There's no doubt about it. You got to get a car that will help you, but you can help them too. It's a give and take till we get to the end of the race.
Why did you choose 99?
Why did what?
Why did you choose the 99 car to make a friend? I assume you're making a deal with the 99.
And believe this or not, the 46 car.
Oh, it's a 2-for-1 down here. I see they're pitted next to each other.
Well, it's just these are the fast cars. You got to stay with the fast cars, and that's what you need to get to the front quick, and that's what we're working on.
So you're going to play with the 46 and 99, hopefully.
Well, right now, yeah, that's who we're 1, 2, 3, so that's who you work with.
All right, that makes sense to me until it changes. That's Bill Venerini, 2-time ARCA REMAX Series champion, 87 and 91.
Guys, I want to talk about this. Drafting so important here on the super speedway restrictor plate track, but always talk about friends. How important are friends here? We're going to talk about that more when we come back live on Speed Channel from Talladega.
Look closely at history in the making.
Reed Sorensen, Boston Reed, and Ryan Hemphill, your top 3 runners here for the ARCA REMAX Series in the Food World 300 at the Talladega Super Speedway. Ryan Hemphill has been the man on a mission this year in the ARCA REMAX Series, a part-time schedule, but he's got 6 wins, 8 top 5 finishes. Could have had a couple more wins, but he got tangled up with a lap car on one occasion earlier this year that we showed you earlier in the show. Just some bad luck here and there along the way, but a dominating season for him here in the ARCA REMAX Series. The Ganassi development driver in the Broad Racing number 64. Right now, still up in the air as far as his plans go for next year, but he's got a couple people knocking on his door. Right now in the 3rd spot, and Dan, we're going to see if you can talk to Ryan Hemphill.
Ryan, Dan Partis, Ken Schrader, Bob Dillner in the booth. You copy?
Is on the backstretch, maybe out of range.
Ryan, Dan Partis in the booth. You copy? Hey, buddy, you started from the back of this field today and fought your way to the front. It's a great job. Looks like you got a really good race car. You had a little fuel problem there with the pickup. How things working out for you?
Don't know if he's able to hear you, Dan, because he is actually on the backstretch heading to number 3. The trim spot Dodge for Ryan Hemphill. He had his hand out the window, kind of trying to catch a little breeze here.
Yep, that's the only, Ken, as far as ventilation in these race cars, there's not a whole lot of air conditioning action going on there, is there?
Well, especially, you know, at the super speedways, you do everything you can to make the car as slippery as possible. And one thing you don't do is get it where a lot of air comes in the car, because whatever comes in the car slows the car down, just gets trapped in there. So some of the guys are probably wearing cool helmets. Some of them have a little duct on the left front that ducts a little air in. I saw on Frank's pre-show there, he didn't have the duct there. He had the glass there that you're allowed, but he didn't have the duct there. But you don't want any kind of air that goes in does slow them down.
A little bit of pitch strategy being played out today at Talladega as well. From my calculations, it looks like the top 7 did not come down pit road during this last caution period. But the guy in 8th was the first guy off of pit road. Talking about that man, the Petro Express number 10 driver for Denny Hamlin, and he only took gas, didn't he, Lindsay?
He did, and that's exactly what we're going to ask his crew chief, Steve Addington, about. Why on that last pit stop did you only take gas?
We only had like 15 green flag laps, 17 green flag laps on that set of tires, and Denny said the car was awesome in the corners, so we just took on fuel and tried to beat these other guys out.
Tell me about your drafting strategy.
Yeah, he's never done this before, and he's saying that it's a lot of fun. I mean, he's got a good car. I thank Dan Shaver and Jeff Bice and all them guys over there at Shaver Racing for putting this deal together so quick for us, just to get Denny some drafting practice, and he's doing an awesome job right now.
Steve Addington knows a thing or two about this racing game. Of course, he was in the Craftsman Truck Series for a long, long time. But Schrader, I'm going to ask you, was that a good move or not to take fuel only when everybody else was taking tires as well?
Well, but, you know, he said that they'd only had 15 laps on them, so not much difference there. And, you know, that was green flag laps, and now you run as many yellows as we've run here. Tires not being as critical here as a lot of the other tracks just because it's so big. I don't think it'll hurt him at all. I'd take the no tires and take the track position for sure.
There you have it. Oh boy, more trouble for Norm Benning. Stalled possibly on the racetrack for that unsponsored number 84.
So unfortunate. Norm having a tire problem earlier, not losing a lap coming in, getting the tire back on and getting back underway. Now this.
Let me tell you something. From what I hear, Norm was a terror on the short tracks in the Pennsylvania area. I mean, part of that whole Pennsylvania posse, as you can see the tow truck going up and going to push that number 84. Don?
I wanted to add to the 84 if I could. You know, he's been one of the independents on the tour. He's finished in the top 10 points 7 out of the last 8 years. He's currently 10th in points now and only 105 ahead of Mike Buckley and Darrell Basham. So that race for 10th, very critical today. Maybe we can keep an eye on it. But Benning hanging on for dear life, trying to finish 10th in this car. It was wrecked at DuQuoin 2 years ago. It took him 2 years to put it back together to get it ready for this race today or this year. One of the independents, one of the great independents on the ARCA REMAX Series Tour. Norm Benning trying to hang on to 10th in points.
Norm Benning, Darrell Basham, Mike Buckley, Brad Smith, those independents here in the ARCA REMAX Series. Guys, I would vote for the most popular driver of the year. And of course, this year you can go to speed51.com or arcaracing.com and vote for your most popular driver, your favorite driver out here in the ARCA REMAX Series on speed51.com. Well, more racing when we come back here at Talladega on Speed Channel. Speed Channel from the Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. Sorry, folks, I actually had some Cheetos in my mouth right there. I apologize for that. Reed Sorensen is your leader. Boston Reed in second and Ryan Hemphill in third. Under caution once again, and here is the reason why. Chris Moore in that 42 trying to sneak his nose in there, taps the 00 of Ed Kennedy, and then the whole melee begins. Joe Cooksey in that 1-800-SERV-PRO number 23. Justin Ashburn in that blue car. Here's another view. Keith Merton in his Invicta, boom, into the wall.
It's amazing how it looks different in real time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just nowhere to go when that happens. Want to mention you see Tony Stewart on the hood of Keith Mert's car. That's all about a charity concert going to happen in Paducah, Kentucky this Wednesday. That will, it's all part of the Tony Stewart Foundation, but the money will go to the Victory Junction Gang Camp in North Carolina, and Kenny, that's just a great charity.
Oh, it really is. You know, the whole Petty family is what they've done there, from Richard putting up the land, Kyle, and I guess Adam had the vision originally, and Kyle and Patty carrying it on, and all the kids that were able to come there this summer and enjoy themselves. It's a phenomenal project, and they've done a wonderful job.
Want to also talk about the number 21 GFS Marketplace car for Todd Boucher. He is running in the 8th spot. A pretty good run today for young Todd, but maybe even more important than Todd's run here today, a big happy birthday to his dad, Jack Boucher, one of the all-time greats, not only in the ARCA REMAX Series, but in all of racing. He is a many-time champion, a many-time winner in all forms of motorsports. Happy 74th to Jack Boucher. Schrader, parties you going to sing to him?
I'm not going to sing, but I remember going to DuQuoin, Illinois, and watching him. I didn't really race with Jack, but I mean, I remember sitting in grandstands and watching him in those old Fords and cars that he prepared for A.J. Foyt. And, oh, boy, when they unloaded, Jack was the man.
Jack has always been the man. Jack. And I tell you, I love listening to his stories down in the garage area because he's got $1 million in his back pocket. Right now, 65 laps to go, 27 cars on the lead lap. There is Reed Sorensen. I think we're now going to hear from pit road. Lindsay?
Guys, what you're looking at right now is Brad Sorensen. That would be your leader, Reed's father. I'm going to get out of the way here. He said that he's on the radio. He can hear him talking, and he's saying that he just wanted to go back to green. And we know that they were saying a little bit that he's being very, very quiet on the radio, and they think that's probably a good sign. So a lot of good stuff going on here. And if you take a look at the crew, this is who calls themselves the G Unit. These are all guys from Ganassi, a mixture from different crews, but they came over here to help read out. We know that this crew plans on getting active sometime before, obviously, lap 100. I just talked to the crew chief, and he was saying sometime after lap 74 between 100. So you'll get to see some action from the G Unit that you see right there, guys.
Liz, you want to talk a little bit more about Brad Sorensen, Reed's dad, because Brad has really raised Reed to be a racer. Brought him to private school. He allowed him to miss school to go racing with the Legends cars and so forth. So he has really helped his son, and he is so proud of him and the job that he has done.
I've got my little boy Sheldon. I'm going to really raise him to be a golfer, because that looks like a whole lot better deal to me.
A little bit easier, maybe a little bit less stressful, although that's a tough game as well. Not as tough as this. Reed Sorensen leading the field to green once again. Boston Reed second. Hemphill third. A great run for the 0-6 of Jim Walker and T.J. Bell in fifth. Car is getting up to speed. Schrader told you a little bit earlier that'll take about 2 laps, but let's listen to them with the sound of speed.
to talk to those two guys. Maybe he didn't explain the single file part. Something wasn't understood there.
Somebody forgot to listen. So frustrating sometimes, Kenny, as you know, you get out there and you make a deal with a guy and you say, let's go single file for 10 laps, and the green flag falls, and the next lap you're hung out to dry. That's just racing here.
That's just the nature of the beast here.
Hey, let's talk about that Serta car for Brent Sherman there, second in points. First time we've really talked about him all day long. He's hanging tough in there, and you know, he told me, he says, at Daytona, I had a horrible car, maybe a top 15 car. Today, I think I have a car that can run in the top 5. Of course, next year he is going to Aikens Motorsports to run about 20, maybe more NASCAR Busch Series races. So this possibly his swan song here in the ARCA Remax Series.
It really is. A victory would be so strong for him today. It gives you the confidence as a driver to come into the next season, just walking away with a win. Just a great thing.
Tested at Memphis this week. Will run his first NASCAR Busch Series race next week at Kansas. Of course, NASCAR Busch Series qualifying always live on Speed Channel. Right now, guys, a little bit strung out after those big wrecks. Maybe people just trying to take it easy or what?
Well, we don't, all the fastest cars aren't up in the front yet, so it's going to take a while for this whole thing to shake out and those cars to get back up there, but I'm pretty sure they will.
Watching Brent Sherman and Don Radebach, you have more on him?
Well, I do. You mentioned he's going to make his first NASCAR Busch Series attempt next week at Kansas. Also has Homestead and Memphis Motorsports Park on his Busch calendar for 04 before he goes more or less almost full-time with Aikens Motorsports in the Busch Series in 05. Maybe even Lowe's Motor Speedway yet this year. Not sure about that, but he tested very well at Memphis. He was the quickest car over there. Right now, he's second in points, and T.J. Bell is only 130 points away from Brent Sherman in second, so that could change, although Bell's having a heck of a run today as well, but the race on back is pretty close.
I think everybody is following the CarQuest number 94 of Blake Beast. That seems to be the deal right now. Brent Sherman trying to tuck in on his back bumper. Billy Venturini there, as well as Mark Gibson, get shuffled back just a little bit. Sherman now in 7th, Venturini in 8th, Gibson is back to 9th, and Klaus Graf rounds out the top 10. 54 laps in the book. Reed Sorensen is your leader. You can see Denny Hamlin trying to march his way back to the front. We'll be back in a moment. Trouble for a lot of top guns here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Another big wreck. That man, Jason Jarrett, in the Gladiator Garage Works number 67, hard into the wall. We are being told by a radio report that a possible flat right rear tire helped cause that incident on Frank Kimmel. Let's take a look at what happened. Schrader, take me through it.
Frank got loose there. Took very characteristics of a flat right rear tire. He came across the track, collected some others, and then came back across the track. And there's not a lot. I mean, Jason Garrett did a phenomenal job of not hitting him right dead-headed.
Todd Boucher with a big impact on the inside retaining wall. That yellow car, the number 99, Klaus Kraft, also involved in that. One of the Shaver cars there as well. Can't tell the car number on that just yet, but also involved. And man, just spread out all over the place. You see Todd Boucher in the GFS Marketplace car getting collected by Jason Jarrett right there. We're going to take a look at an onboard camera replay and listen to what happened here with Frank Kimmel. Wow. Whoa. This accident, of course, coming halfway through the race. On board with Jason Jarrett.
Right now, you guys see them working on that car. They are changing 4 tires. They're adding fuel. They are making a wedge adjustment. Like we said before, Reed thinks this car is fantastic. We're going to toss it now to his drafting partner with Don Radebaugh.
Who's with the 7th car? That would be Boston Reed. They took right side tires only, a little air pressure adjustment. That's all, but it got very tight down here, blocked in by the 5 car momentarily, but right side tires only for the 7th car of Boston Reed. Little air pressure adjustment. They were a little tight. Took some fuel as well. That's it. That's all.
Blake Feast also on pit road. Denny Hamlin, Brent Sherman, Ryan Hemphill as well. So a host of top competitors not only involved in that wreck, but also coming down pit road for adjustments, fuel, and tires. Hopefully, can they make it the rest of the way? Right on the borderline, possibly.
Oh, I'm saying no.
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 Mark Gibson, you see him on pit road as well in the Williams Brothers Lumber number 59. We'll sort out the fuel game here at Talladega when we come back on Speed.
Again, yep. Bendetka.
Pit road with Don Radebaugh.
Who's with Billy Gerhardt, crew chief on Boston Reed. Routine 2-tire stop. Looks like it may have went bad, though. What exactly happened?
A little miscue whether we got it full or not, but we did get it full. Tech.com car is running great, Don.
You were anything but happy when it left, though. What's wrong?
I wasn't sure it was full, but it is full. Just a miscommunication in the pits. Boston's doing a heck of a job. We're going to try to win this thing. Tough break for Bobby in the Lucas Oil car today.
Yeah, we noted earlier there was damage on the 7th car, some fender damage. Any effects with that?
Yeah, that happened on that first yellow when Boston was running around fifth when Christie crashed. We got some tire rub. We had to come in there for tires, and it got us out of the big one to put us up front, so it all worked out. We're in good shape to try to win this right now.
Funny how that all works out. Doesn't look too good at the time, but it worked out later on. Things looking good for Boston Reed and Billy Gerhardt.
Boston Reed in the 11th spot, so it should be interesting to see if they did indeed get all the fuel that they needed in that car, and maybe the fuel game being played out here, and maybe some teams going to attempt to try to make it the rest of the way, hence it would be a long way to go. There is Reed Sorensen, the number 77 Target Dodge, running in the 13th spot. Lindsay?
Bob, you're exactly right. They did. They put in all the fuel that they said they're going to need, and Brian Patty, Reed's crew chief, said he can go the entire rest of the way without having to pit, but he said they've got to get up front quickly because whoever are the top 3 racers in the front of the pack is going to be so hard to get past their aerodynamic packages.
Ken Schrader, a very smart man, just points out to me that Billy Venturini, one of the top competitors today on pit road, and I see an official standing in front of his car.
It sure looks like he's not just checking the front screen for some reason.
There's the shot right there. Man over the wall with improper pit attire for the 25 team of Billy Venturini.
Billy says, go, go, go. Get him out of here.
Mom and Dad right there. Of course, you don't want to mess with Big Bill because he, bottom line, is a big guy and he can be pretty mean when he wants to.
Well, he's just very adamant about his racing. He takes it very serious, and you get pumped up. But, you know, an ARCA rule, just like in NASCAR, is everyone over the wall has to have on an approved helmet and fire suit. So maybe there's discrepancy as far as what Bill thinks, that somebody was over the wall. Maybe someone just had a foot over the wall. We don't know. But, boy, what a bad break.
And, of course, ARCA implements those rules for safety concerns. Good reasons to do so. There is TJ Bell on pit road, another one of your top competitors. Right now, the leader in the rookie points, and he almost has the thing locked up, as Don Radebaugh said before, battling with A.J. Fike.
Great run for him today. Again, put a Hendricks motor in that car. That's the best thing they've ever done probably this year, I'm sure, as far as motor change.
And then A.J. had a rough day, being caught up in one of the earlier ones today, so that's could come down to being the tiebreaker.
So Darrell Basham in that number 34 car in the Defiant Clothing number 08 for TJ Bell. It's been exciting here today at Talladega. Back to the start of the race. King Kimmel, he's already been crowned the champion, looking for his first Talladega Super Speedway win, and he's got a great start from the fourth pole position. And then trouble. Christy Passmore, a hard lick on the outside wall, but watch this vicious hit. Oh, tough lick right there. We have been told that she's been taken to a local hospital. She is conscious and alert. Here's another view.
You just cannot imagine.
But a great sign.
Oh, to see her waving there, that's a very welcome sight.
Trouble for Frank Kimmel on pit road. They have to back the car up. Did not get the left rear lug nut tight on that tire. The jack dropped too soon. Then another big wreck. Chris Moore and Ed Kennedy into Keith Mert, and then everybody almost gets involved here. Here's another view. Boom! Tough break for Keith Mert, who started 6th on the grid here today.
Stuff happens so quick here.
And then Frank Kimmel's day gets worse. A possible right rear flat. He gets loose, collects a couple cars, and then the melee is on. Klaus Graf, Jason Jarrett, Todd Boucher, and a bunch of others also involved in this one. Here's the onboard look. Never pretty, it's never what you want to see. Also, Dan Shaver and the Petro Express number 4 involved in that one as well. Wow. Woo, you thought that was good? Folks, don't go away. We got a lot more for Talladega here on Speed. Longest ARCA Remax Series race of the year on the schedule. 300 miles the distance. We're just a little bit past halfway today at Talladega. That white car way out front is Billy Venturini, and let me tell you something. He timed that restart perfectly because he was a lap down, and now he's shot ahead of leader Stuart Kirby back on the tail end of the lead lap.
He really timed it good. You cannot beat the leader to the stripe on restart.
Boston Reed and Chris Moore in the 42. Chris Moore involved in that other altercation a little while ago. Bumping and banging, you wouldn't expect it here at almost 200 miles per hour. It kind of looks like a short track out there. Oh, trouble for the 96 of Benny Chastain.
Trouble for the 96, relief for Billy Venturini.
Yes, it is. Good point.
Big help.
Venturini now gets to rejoin the back of the field. He is on the lead lap and in contention once again. So all that disappointment on pit road, jubilation now down there for that crew.
I still wouldn't want to talk real close to Bill about it right now. He's still a little upset.
Such a great break for the Venturini's again. Break this early, didn't have to race hard, didn't have to fight that lead back.
The 5th caution of the day. Oh, 96, Benny just breaks loose. Wow, that was weird.
That was really weird. I mean, it broke loose on the straightaway. I mean, we've got to imagine, okay, the left rear's down. We don't know. The right rear was up. But something had to happen.
There's Big Bill. Stuff going down in the pit road area, Don.
There's so much going on down here, I don't know where to start. I'm right in the middle of it. Maybe I shouldn't be, but it was pure pandemonium. They lost the lap, as you know, and then they just got it back as a result of that last caution. So they went from really depressed to very, very happy. And I'm going to try to sneak in with Bill, but I'm trying to be respectful of what's going on here. Bill, you guys went a lap down and you got it back. Why the infraction to begin with? What happened initially for the lap to go down?
Well, I screwed up. I went out, but I didn't go into the pit. I didn't go over the wall into my pit. I was in the opening right in front of us without a helmet. I didn't go in my pits. I didn't work on the car to penalize us a lap.
Now I had to go drag you down because you wouldn't made a tire deal and rounded up some tires from way back. What's that all about?
Yeah, just so we're trying to get a set of tires because we had a bad vibration. I had to find a set of tires from Kimmel, get them ready.
Yeah, I really need to let these guys go to work and get the heck out of the way, if you don't mind.
Here's the start that put him back in position to be back on the lead lap. Like I say, you can't pass the leader before you get to the stripe. We're coming up the stripe here. We're already past the stripe. But he had 40-mile-an-hour momentum. Okay, he didn't pass the leader until they got to that stripe. He had 40-mile-an-hour more momentum when he got to the stripe, so clearly put him back. But you got to give Bill an attaboy for saying that he messed up, even though he was going to try to argue it a little bit. But
Start-finish line, 3/4 of the way down the front stretch here, unlike any other racetrack. Championship and the Craftsman Truck Series. Here, though, Stuart Kirby on pit road. He relinquishes the lead and heads down pit road for some possible tires and fuel. Stuart Kirby running for Bob Shack here in the ARCA Remax Series. His 3rd start with Bob this year. And in both other starts, he has started on the front row.
Great season for him. I would say we're in our pit window now. We're 48 laps to go, 47 laps to go. Wouldn't you say, Kenny? We could probably make it to the end.
I think everybody should be okay from here now. See Billy back in and put the tires on, filling it up with fuel.
And I think Don's there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit everywhere today, back with the Billy Venturiti crew for the moment, and you heard Bill talk earlier about that tire deal he made with the Kimmels. Well, he'll put them on for the run to the finish at Talladega. Right side and left side tires, fuel as well. Billy Venturiti down and away.
And I want to talk a little bit about the top 5 right now, because some names that we haven't spoken about a lot today. Your top 5 is Johnny Leonard, Ray Cook, who won the dirt late model race over the short track just across from the Super Speedway here last night. Chuck Spanky Weber driving for Andy Belmont in that 24 car. Boston Reed in the Ditech.com Chevrolet. And then also Chris Moore in that 42, who was involved in that big melee, that big tangle early on with Keith Mert and Ed Kennedy. That is your top 5.
Ray Cook, 2nd place there. Phil Elliott racing car, kind of a group effort. I talked to Ray earlier. He's a dirt racer. He actually handles and helps Bill with his dirt program. He says, I've done a lot for Bill in the last 2 or 3 years, and he said, actually, I wasn't really looking for anything to come back. He said his deal just kind of got put together. He said Dodge got involved a little bit, helped us out with an engine. We put an R&D deal together with Bill, and he said Bill owns the car, and he said it's a great ride.
He was 3rd quick, I believe, in practice at Michigan when we were there a few months ago, and then unfortunately crashed, and he did not make the field. But you know who's spotting for him here today, Ray Cook? I would say Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott, there you go. Brent Sherman, though, on pit road, a little stop for fuel, Schrader.
Yes, he did. Slid front tires coming in. You hate to do that here because any kind of little flat spot at all will set up a pretty significant vibration.
Lee Leslie, the crew chief on that Hickory Farms, number 44 for Brent Sherman. Sherman has had a heck of a run here in the ARCA REMAX Series this year. Still looking for that big win, though. There's the number 10 for Denny Hamlin. Man, for a kid that has not run a super speedway restrictor plate race, he is doing a good job, Lindsay. We'll get back to Lindsay, I guess.
Can you guys hear me?
There
Can
you
you
are,
hear me now?
Lindsay.
There we are. There we are. All right. I just talked to his crew chief, and they did bring Denny in. They just topped him off with fuel. They said he's good to go. He's already gained 2 positions. He's been back out, and they said as long as he's in sight of Billy Venturini, they think they're fine. Because if you guys remember earlier, they were making that deal, and they planned to follow it. Don?
How about the 75, Stuart Kirby? After all that crummy luck, a pole at Chicago and breaking on the first lap. Same thing, their outside pole at Nashville and broke early on. Stuart Kirby having a great run here today. They did make a pit stop in this last round. They took 4 tires and fuel, and they are one of those teams that can make it to the end. They really need some good luck in this Bob Scheck Motorsports team. Stewart's got some great runs with the series. Second at Kansas, second at Lowe's, third at Pocono, fourth at Atlanta. Fifth in his first ever start way back in 2001 at Daytona. They can get the job done. They're getting it done today.
I just want to talk really quickly about Chuck Spanky Weber in the 3rd spot, running for Andy Belmont. Andy Belmont told me the other day, Chuck is the only other guy other than Dick Trickle that has an extra radio box in his car to hold his pack of cigarettes.
We won't ask you why you call him Spanky either.
I have no idea. You know what? I'm not going to ask. Green flag flies once again. 67 laps, actually. Lap 69 now here in the books for the ARCA REMAX Series. Johnny Leonard out front. How long will he stay there, though? He's been in the top 5 before, but we've seen him get shuffled back rather quickly.
Great run for Johnny today. Not sure if he has the superior equipment that some of these guys out here today. The big horsepower don't have quite the budget. As you said, he runs his own roofing company down there in Florida. Works hard, probably funds a lot of his own effort, so it's just hard to spend that kind of money.
All right, what's Bill Elliott telling Ray Cook right now?
Give Spanky some room. He's coming.
Spanky Weber going for the lead. How about that? Door to door with Johnny Leonard.
Great help from the backside. 7 cars you see giving them a little shove. Chuck, great run here today.
Boston Reed and Blake Peace, the Hendrick teammates there, right behind Spanky. Don't know if he's a Little Rascals fan, but boy, oh, trouble.
65 cars down on
the 65. Wow. What a ride.
Great job of keeping that race car down in the bottom there, Kenny. As you know, that's a hard thing to do.
Brack Maggard, man, he fought that car all the way.
It would be interesting, first off, to see if the yellow does come out, and hopefully we can see how he got forced down there, but he fought it for a long time, but the yellow comes out now. That's quite a little ride there.
How about this? Team Hendrick versus Team Ganassi of sorts. First and second, Boston Reed and Blake Peace. Third and fourth, Reed Sorensen and Ryan Hemphill. But here comes Chuck Spanky Weber saying, hey, I want my spot back, boys.
Yeah, we don't race back to the yellow.
Great job of walling him down.
I don't know if he remembered that, except for Chuck. Let's take a look at what happened. Brack Maggard in the blue 65. Little bumps there.
Down in the wrong direction.
Well, was that one of the Shaver cars, maybe?
Tough to see. It was a red car, certainly with yellow numbers on the top. Might have been Stuart Kirby. Stewart was in the back of the field after stopping during that last caution.
Now, the track is banked 33 degrees. The apron is flat, and the transition in the middle, probably somewhere, 16 degrees or so.
Oh, on board with the Georgia Peanuts car for Brad Taggart, and he was fighting it for all he could.
And you hear those loud hits when you're running that fast, and you drive up onto that bank, stuff hits. I mean, the nose of the car hits, the back of the car hits. That had to be an exciting ride.
You know, it sounds like such tough blows. Do you ever actually lose grip of the wheel?
No, you hold on to that like it's your best friend.
We'll find out who's friends here when we come back. This just the other day at Talladega, the right rear tire cuts loose. He backs it up barely into the outside retaining wall. But the Buckley Motorsports team went to work on this car, made repairs, and that's why they are our gladiator of the race. Mike Buckley and that team, true independence. That's what makes the ARCA REMAX Series special. So congratulations to Mike Buckley and that team on being the gladiator of the race. Man, we need those teams here in the ARCA REMAX Series, and Mike is a true good dude. There is Ray Cook, the number 98. And Lindsay, you're with a very special person, aren't you?
I absolutely am, if you consider Bill Elliott special, which I think everybody does. He is the owner of Ray Cook's car. We saw you guys jabbering back and forth. What are you talking about?
Well, just trying to keep his head straight. You know, this is really his first pavement race. He's run a lot of dirt, and he's a really good dirt shooter. He won over here at the short track last night. He's going to race again tonight. But, you know, to come here and be pretty intimidated with this particular speedway, you know, it's pretty incredible. I mean, he's done a really good job. He's kept his nose clean, and that's the things you got to do, is be able to go through this stuff and work through it all.
How about you? You got to miss being out there on the draft.
Well, I do. I mean, you know, you've got so much knowledge to tell him, but it's hard for him to comprehend everything that you can tell him and all the things that I take for granted that he's got to learn. You know, and we've had some really good help with the Lonesome Pine Speedway and Smith Transport. A couple other guys kind of helped us out for this deal. And, you know, Ray's loaned me his boys to come down here and fit the car, so we're having a good time.
I heard you're also having a good time on the dirt tracks. Is that right?
Yeah, Ray's helped me out a lot on the dirt. So between him helping me out on the dirt and me trying to help him out on pavement, we're just trying to help each other out and continue to go forward in the racing.
Yeah, I know, and Ray told me earlier that he's going for his triple sweep because he's going to run the dirt track race tonight as well.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him tonight. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Back upstairs.
I tell you what, I don't think I've seen Bill Elliott smile more than I have this year. I mean, you know, he's running a part-time deal in the Cup Series, really enjoying that, doing some dirt late model action, and also helping out Ray Cook. And, man, he is just all smiles. He says, you know, this semi-retirement, pretty good for me.
Bill sure appears to be having a lot of fun. I know he's been real relaxed when he's been at the Nextel Cup races with us, and he's been having a lot of fun with the dirt car.
You see T.J. Bell there in that Defiant clothing, white number 08. 22 career starts this year, best finish of second. Got a bunch of top 10s there, and right now he is your points leader as far as the Rookie of the Year competition goes in ARCA. Boston Reed out front. Like I said, the Hendrick Brigade versus the Ganassi drivers. Boston Reed, Blake Beast, then Reed Sorensen and Ryan Hemphill. The Chevys versus the Dodgers. Then you got a Pontiac in fifth with Mark Gibson. 40 laps to go. And man, what a jump by Boston Reed.
That's not always a real good thing here. That means that they can run you down with that draft and have more momentum when they get to you.
Now, we noted earlier in the program that those Hendrick boys, they will work together, but they're not necessarily, under caution once again. We've seen the caution flag a lot of times. In fact, 7 here today, says my stats person, Kim Novak, up here in the booth. Debris on the front stretch is what we are being told. So,
we'll see a debris a lot of times after a wreck because something will just plain old fall off the car and not get caught or fall off, you know, when it gets back up to speed.
Here on a super speedway, it's so tough too, because if you get running in a pack, if you're running single file and you're on a tractor where you got 1 or 2 grooves, you can drive around and it's not near as fast. But if you get in a pack of 3 or 4 cars, 2 or 3 wide, just one little piece of debris, some 6-8 inches, you know, in length, could really do some damage.
Here's what's pretty interesting too. Look at those top 2 guys. They both come from the open wheel ranks. You know, Blake Bees ran World of Outlaws, a bunch of other sprint cars. Boston Reed, the 2002 Sprint Car Rookie of the Year. Both those guys really showing their stuff here, Don.
No doubt about that. One guy showing the stuff, crew chief Gary Dehart, former champion crew chief for Terry Labonte. What do you think of your star pupil Blake Feast today, his first ever restrictor plate run? How would you assess his job?
I tell you what, he's like a pro right now. He's really good. He knows what's going on around him, and he's doing a great job. We're proud of him, very proud of him.
Is he pretty calm in the seat overall? What's the communication been like? It's pretty hairy out there today.
Yeah, I think he is. But I think he'd rather outrun that other Hendrick car than he would anyone else. But, you know, they're true racers out there, him, Boston and Blake. So hope one of them wins.
Bob, what was your question?
Don, I want to know, are they, you know, they've been saying that they're going to go door handle to door handle. How much are they going to work together to keep the Ganassi boys behind them?
Yeah, this is a very good question. How about it, Gary? You're going to be able to keep the Ganassi boys behind you by working together on the track with the other Hendrick car, the 7-car Breed?
We've already talked about it, yes. We're going to try to keep the Ganassi cars behind us.
Well, that's a pretty darn good strategy, because that's the only way you're going to win this thing now, isn't it? That's Gary Dehart, champion crew chief in the Cup Series and trying to be a champ here in the ARCA Remax Series with young Blake Feast aboard.
And a very simple statement by Gary Dehart. Like I said, the Hendrick boys out front with Boston Reed and Blake Feast. We've got a bunch to go for the ARCA Remax Series at Talladega.
If anyone is a threat?
It's going to be a 4-car race, I think. I mean, you got Gibson up there. It's running pretty good. Pontiacs are a good body here. We'll just see, but hopefully Ryan and I, or Reed, can hook up and go to the front.
I don't know if Ryan Patty is altogether correct there, because I think it may be more than a 4-horse race. Obviously, those guys are really good as we get restarted again on lap 77, but there are a couple of guys trying to work their way back, guys like Billy Venturini that could certainly sneak their way up there and possibly challenge those big buck teams.
Most definitely they can. Unfortunately, he's lost some of the cars that he was relying on to help him get back up there. So, but, you know, you never know the way the yellows play out and stuff.
You know, there's a couple good cars mired back there. The number 10 of Denny Hamlin, the 98 of Ray Cook, Billy Venturini. Those guys really need to hook up together to try to catch that top 4 bunch.
Well, when you're on the Ganassi team or you're on the Hendrick team right now, you want to sit on top of your box and think it's a 4-car race. And you know what? They might be right.
Could be.
Because when the 4 fastest cars do stay in line, they can get out and get away.
Hardest, how the heck did they jump out ahead of the field that much that quickly?
Well, exactly what Kenny said there. They got a great restart and just snookered them, and, man, they're gone. And again, if they pull off like that in a 4-car draft, that second draft will be real hard to catch them unless there's some real horsepower back there. It looks like all the horsepower is right there, them 4 cars.
Those 4 cars right there?
That looks like the biggest part of the horsepower in this field today. Of course, Mark Gibson's the DEI motor running back there in 5th. He's got to have some help from the back. He's got to have one of the guys just come up there and help work his way back up.
There's Billy Venturini in that white 25, trying to work his way up, currently running about 14th or 15th. You know, positions change by the second here at Talladega. You never can quite tell sometimes where people are running, but that's a battle for 10th. Stuart Kirby in that 75 car. Venturini going 3-4 wide. Holy smoke.
Billy knows he's got to go. He's, you know, some 36 laps left, but he don't want to get strung out and get too far back, like Kenny says. It may go green the rest of the day here, and if he does, he'd be in real trouble.
Well, here's where Billy Venturini needs to hook up with the 75 of Stuart Kirby. Denny Hamlin trying to work his way around Johnny Leonard. Denny in that number 10 car up front, though. Wanted to talk about those 4 guys right there, because not a wealth of experience on the restrictor plate track. In fact, amongst all of them, only 1 race completed, and that was Ryan Hemphill at Daytona, and he finished 5th.
Not a ton of laps, but a wealth of knowledge that they're driving for, and have been talking to them, and are talking to them now, and a lot of racing experience on all of them. I mean, it's a little bit different, but they can go back and draw off of you know, the experiences they've had already, and they'll be just fine.
You know, we talked about Blake Feast getting some drafting help or knowledge in form of instruction from Jimmy Johnson with the sugar packets. Have you ever heard of that, Trader, before? Does that really work, learning them from sugar packets?
Just in that movie, Nicole Kidman's leg was better than the back, than the back straightaway here. But
yeah, let's change the subject. Let's get to Lindsay Darniak now, Lindsay.
Yeah.
I didn't know where you guys were going, but I'm glad you broke it up when you did. I talked to a big fan of Dan Pardis, and that happens to be Mark Gibson, because Mark in the 59 car was explaining to me how when you plan a draft, it never happens. It's like when you go to a party and say you're going to meet up with friends later, and it never happens. But he said that he and Dan Pardis used to draft together really, really well back in '98, Dan. That's right? Back in Daytona.
Yep. It's so weird, it's so unusual, Kenny. Probably you can elaborate on this also. Sometimes you get with a car that you'll pick up some 2 or 3 or 5 mile an hour sometime with. You could be there all day, and basically I was here at Talladega a few years back, and I was just sitting duck, and me and Mark got hooked up together, and we went straight to the front. We put it on the high side, run about 1 car length off the wall, and man, we picked up some 5 mile an hour, and it was just unbelievable. But what that does is it's just how that air comes off that car in front of you that makes the big difference. Is that what? That's the way I describe it.
Definitely, car to car makes a tremendous difference. Plus, you'll just get hooked up, and you'll have a driver that you're drafting with that you feel comfortable with. You have a ton of confidence in him. You know he's not going to lead you in a hole that's not big enough for both of you, and that he's not going to leave you hanging. So that's 2 cars that work together and 2 drivers that respect and trust one another. It makes it happen.
We look up front here to the top 4 cars. Once again, somebody in the garage area today told me, Pardis, you should have won a couple of these here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a bad situation, run out of gas there early. Went out sequencing a pit strategy and just got off. Caution came out, and unfortunately, a guy running the back and he took me out. But that's racing, and that's just how it is. We can sit here and I don't want to complain, and I don't want to whine.
I don't see, and we'll see when these guys start moving around right here. I don't see these guys pulling away a ton from Mark Gibson and T.J. Bell. And they get side by side. That's just going to allow them to catch up.
That's an interesting move there. Blake Spieth with a run on his teammate Boston Reed goes to the outside. And man, Reed Sorensen's been just wiggling right behind Blake Spieth. Looks like he has a real good car and stucks up well in the draft. And now the margin between those top 4 guys. And look at that. There is Mark Gibson and T.J. Bell. Those 2 guys are catching these 4, as Schrader just mentioned.
Well, what's happened here is these guys are running single file for many, many laps, few laps, and they were pulling the field. But when they get dicing like they're doing now, they're moving around. I don't know if you've seen a few laps ago, you've seen the hand up in the window. They probably talked to their spotters and said, hey, you lead. No, you lead. So they're moving around a little bit, trying different things. But when they did that, the field just tightened up to them. As you see Mark Gibson pull right up on the bumper.
Well, especially when Mark catches them too. Mark's played this game a number of times. Mark will stay right in line and just be worried about going fast and staying with that group until it's the end of the race and it's really time to make something happen.
Schrader, Boston Reed right now kind of getting hung out to dry, so to speak. I mean, as a young racer here, you can probably remember the first time you ran Daytona. I'm sure you got hung out to dry. A lot of the rookies do. I mean, what's he thinking right now?
Oh, he's just aggravated, and he thinks his world's coming to an end right now. Doesn't realize he still has a number of laps left, but it's very frustrating here. It's not like you can just drive down into the next turn harder and hold your breath a little more because you're going as flat out all the time, so it's frustrating.
It's so frustrating as a driver. And like you say, Kenny, when you fall out of the lead like that, you start going back 1, 2, 3, cars start coming by, and you say, man, my day's over. I'm back to 10th. I was leading this thing. What did I do wrong? And then you start making bad decisions. The key there is to young guys like this is that spotter up on the tower to talk to him and say, hey, rally back, get a guy in front of you to fall in line with you, and let's work our way back up, just like you're doing there.
We saw one pass make this a 9 or 10 car group instead of a 4 car group, with more coming.
Yep, it's back. Sorry to cut you off there, Dan, but Billy Venturini back into the mix in that white 25 car.
Great run. Billy's dad said, we have such a great draft in race car. He said, and that's so important here. Normally we don't qualify well here on these super speedways. We did come here this year and qualify well, but better than all, it really drafted. He's showing that through here today.
And Billy is not afraid to mix it up. Whether it's a short track or the super speedway, the kid likes to get in the middle of everything and try to muscle his way to the front. We mentioned that he's trying to win his first race still in ARCA. Denny Hamlin's trying to push him to the front right now. Maybe those two guys going to try to hook up and work together as well.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, this we can talk all you want about this working together. And you work together with everybody until you realize that they've got you in a better position and you got to go by yourself.
Yes. And a guy jumps out and he just happens to look like he's a little faster and you go with him. So, you know, it's anybody's race.
Mike Skinner once told me when he was running the Cup Series, he goes, I'd throw my mama in the river to win a big race like Daytona or Talladega. and that's what it is. You know, you're friends until, you know, you get down to the nitty-gritty and you got to just fend for yourself.
See some bump drafting going on here. What happens is you can actually get up on the bumper of a guy going down the straightaway and push him down the straightaway, but as you enter the corner, you need to back off there a little bit, don't you, Kenny? If not, you'll turn that guy loose and everybody be in the wall.
Yeah, and really, bump drafting is something that doesn't need to be going on right now at all.
Lindsay, what's going on down there?
Well, you guys remember how we talked about the problem that Hemphill was having with drafting earlier. Obviously, completely cleared up because he and Reed Sorensen are now working out a deal, that being Hemphill 64, Reed 77 car. They're going to try to take it all the way by drafting together and take over that first spot.
Now, you just saw Blake Spies snake down to the bottom to try to catch a draft on that 0 car there. Is that something that he just knows from watching races here, or is the spotter or crew chief telling him that right now?
Well, I mean, it's something that was probably talked about before the race, but, you know, if the slower car is running 150 mile an hour down the back straightaway, when you get him in sight, you get behind him and you get a little bit of a tug and just make it a little bit faster. You got some sugar packs? I'll show you.
No, I don't want you to put sugar packets anywhere near me. But these guys right now, I mean, Blake Spies trying to learn how to keep these guys behind him. Is he a sitting duck as we near the end of this race, or is it going to take a good bunch of cars to try to get past him?
It's going to take a bunch, and what's going to happen is if the 64 and Sorensen right now decided that they were going to roll to the top on the next turn, well, that's going to leave the 84 or 94 Blake down there, and the 10 is going to decide, hey, I got all this free air, I'm going to run on up to that car. So it's trying to figure out what's going to happen here is just it's just way too complicated.
A 6-horse race up at the top of this one with 25 to go. Denny Hamlin in 4th, running a good race. John Radebach.
Yeah, and we like to brag about those rookies. How about this one? Denny Hamlin in the 10 car. He's not only a rookie, this is his first ever ARCA REMAX Series race, whether it be on a short track speedway or a restrictor plate track like Talladega. And look at the job he's doing. He comes from the late model ranks. He's got 46 wins. He is the Southern National Speedway late model champion in 2003. He is utilizing Joe Gibbs Racing through Dan Shaver Motorsports, as are some of the other driver development teams doing, like Hendricks and Ganassi, but he's doing it with Joe Gibbs Racing through Dan Shaver Motorsports in his 10 car, and right now he's doing it very, very well in his first ever ARCA REMAX Series start. Just a youngster out of Virginia, Denny Hamlin, getting it done at Talladega. Very impressive.
I'll tell you, that shows why the ARCA REMAX Series is so important to a lot of these Cup teams, because the top 5 guys right there, all part of the driver development program. You got the 2 Ganassi boys. Actually, Reed Sorensen knows he's going after a Busch Series racing next year. Ryan Hemphill has the contract this year with Ganassi Racing, but he's still kind of up in the air about what's going to go on with him. Blake Spies and Boston Reed vying for a spot on the Hendricks squad, maybe to go Truck Series racing or Busch Series racing next year. And of course, as Don mentioned, part of the Gibbs Racing front, Denny Hamlin there in that Petro Express number 10. Billy Venturini just behind those cars right there, not losing the draft, trying to close back in on those leaders. Trouble for one of the contenders, Ryan Hemphill, right up there with the leaders, and then just fell back a little bit. Can you guys tell maybe what's going on?
No, other than he lost speed.
Yep. Looks like he's back up his speed, but not near as fast.
Could it be electrical ignition? We've seen a lot of that happen in the Cup Series, you know, where guys switch the ignition boxes and so forth and lose a lot of time.
Yeah, there's no, it could be a number of different things. Sometimes you'll think you have a tire issue and you kind of check up for a turn just to make sure. So that's all what happened with Frank. I mean, any kind of tire problems. And
trying to definitely check on what happened to Ryan Hemphill, but right now the battle getting pretty furious up front. Blake Feast is your leader. Lindsay, what's going on with Ryan Hemphill?
Greg Kester is Ryan Hemphill's crew chief, and he's going to tell us, Greg, you guys dropped back significantly in position. Tell me what happened.
Thing popped out of gear or something. He didn't say. He said the person thought it blew up or broke a gear or something. He popped it back in gear and we're going, but we're so far back now we haven't got a chance to back.
Okay, so
last auction might make it, but
okay, well then we'll wait and see. Obviously, a disappointing end if that's what it turns out to be for Ryan Hemphill.
Very, very unfortunate. Kenny, you ever have one of them jump out of gear on you?
yeah, there's not a whole lot of stuff I haven't had happen.
Mark Gibson slowing on the racetrack as well. He was up to the 5th spot just a short time ago, was in that lead mix battling for the win.
Tough deal for Mark, currently in 8th place. Maybe he jumped out of gear also.
Looks like he's going to hit pit road. So we'll see what they do to that thing here.
21st at the other restrictor plate race earlier this year at Daytona was Mark Gibson.
He might have a tire going now. Yes.
Yep, as you say, you just got to play it safe. Ooh, there's one passing along the exit.
Blake Feast up front, Denny Hamlin second, Boston Reed is third, Billy Venturini in 4th, and that car with the big bullseye on the hood, Reed Sorensen. Also runs the ASA circuit, top 10 in points there. 17 laps to go.
Well, Reed definitely doesn't want to see Ryan Hemphill have the problems because that's his teammate, although I don't really believe that when it came down to it, I mean, I think they would have pretty much acted separately because you're not going to take 5 young and hungry guys and let them worry about teammates. They all want to win. So this is really going to be interesting here.
Almost a little fender rubbing there between Boston Reed and the 7 and Billy Venturini.
Oh, no,
Reed Sorensen got to the back of the Ditech.com number 7. Billy Venturini and Boston Reed in the wall.
I'll tell you what's aggravating about this. Talk about bump drafting and that, and just so much stuff happens that just is uncalled for.
Tough to do, especially in the turns here at Talladega. Those two guys side by side, almost bumping. Sorensen sucks up quick and just taps the 7 car of Boston Reed, and Boston Reed then collects up Billy Venturini.
Not to be one of them teams wanted to see here today. Such a great run.
Is that an experience here at Talladega on a restrictor plate race?
Yes, most definitely. You can't be running into people. I mean,
Reed just gets in the back of Boston Reed, and then everybody's loose. There's nothing you can do at 190 miles an hour.
Is that one of the deals where Reed Sorensen just should have backed off a little bit off the throttle?
well, he definitely, whenever you see 2 cars rubbing one another, bouncing off one another, I mean, they've already got their own issues going on. You don't need to join them.
Looks like he just got a great run on him there, and you know, he had too much of a run going and maybe didn't want to get out the gas pedal and rode, you know, just drove right in the back of him.
And here's a really tough deal. Obviously, you know, Reed Sorensen and Boston Reed, part of the big buck teams. Billy Venturini, his dad owns the team. They are not a high dollar team, having a great run. Tough to see them end up in the wall here today. Folks, maybe down to a 3-horse race. We'll find out when we come back.
for the parts and advice.
Eighth caution of the day here at the Talladega Super Speedway, the Food World 300. Some of the biggest contenders today getting in a wild one. A big wreck. Let's take a look at what happened. It involved 3 cars. Boston Reed in the 7, 25 of Billy Venturini, and the 77 of Reed Sorensen.
It actually, Reed got into the back of Boston just a little bit there, but it actually started a little bit before that when Billy and Boston were already bouncing off one another just a little bit.
Here it is. I think you can see them there. Billy Venturini goes up the track a little bit. Boston Reed comes back down. And boom. There goes the 77 into the 7, and then those 2 guys take a pretty hard lick into the outside wall.
Yes, most definitely.
Fortunately, they have the safer walls here, and that always helps.
Yeah, you definitely want to be in Billy's car in that one, because you have the softer wall and the 7 car to help cushion your blow.
Yeah. But that's not going to make him any happier because that car looks pretty beat up.
Very unfortunate. And what you learn is, as time goes on in experience, like when you get around cars, more than 1 or 2 cars, these cars really buck around a lot. They buff a lot from the air in front of you. And Kenny and myself, and again, depending on the car that's in front of you or how many of them are in front of you, it's just a matter of how much it happens and whether your car will actually get loose or tight. So it's just experience. Is that right? Knowing not to run that hard sometimes in different situations.
Most definitely. You just got to leave a little bit of room.
Lindsey Denny Hamlin running really well in that 2nd spot. Can he challenge Blake Beats for the win here?
They absolutely think he can. I just talked to his crew chief. They are ecstatic over here. They said that Denny got on the radio and he's saying, guys, this is so much fun. Like he's a kid in a candy store. He doesn't know what to do with himself. They said they know exactly what he can do, get himself to victory lane, and they have full confidence that he will be able to do it.
He is a kid in a candy store, isn't he?
Definitely.
Let me tell you, when you got a good race car at a super speedway and you've had a great day like Denny has, there ain't no better feeling because his car's been able to draft good and go just about anywhere he wants, and he's got good motor where he can pull back up on the guy in front of him. What a tremendous feeling that is.
And on his back bumper there, he's got the smallest rookie stripe I've ever seen. Reed Sorensen's got the big yellow stripe on the back, so does Blake Beats there, but check out that. That's the smallest rookie stripe I've ever seen, and it doesn't even look that yellow.
Both of the super teams have lost the teammate now.
They have. They are all on their own. Blake Beast of the Hendrick organization. You have Denny Hamlin running for Dan Shaver, but part of that Gibbs Racing deal, and then Reed Sorensen in a Ganassi project car. And then you got the independent guy right there. One of the guys a lot of people are rooting for, T.J. Bell in 4th in the Defiant Clothing 08. And Brent Sherman having a great run for him, especially at a restrictor plate track in the 5th spot.
TJ having to come in and take a provisional here today, be running in 4th place right now. Again, they did a motor swap in that car, put a Hendricks motor in that to run 4th, and just to have a top 5 finish would be a victory for him.
You see Sam Haferteep in that 1 car pulling to the bottom end of the racetrack. He is one of the lap cars out on the racetrack right now. The 95 of Roger Williams is running 7th. And Norm Benning again stopped on the racetrack. That'll take another lap or so.
Well, look at the aero package. That's
what aero package?
That tow truck would only go so fast.
Blake Beast now. He doesn't have a teammate. He said he wasn't necessarily going to team up with Boston Reed here. They were going to fight for all they could. But now you got to wonder, does he feel better all by himself that he doesn't have a teammate or not?
I don't know.
The number 2.
Richie Woodland talked to Richie. He had a deal put together for this car for someone else to come and drive this race car, and it kind of fell through last minute. He said, heck, Richie's a longtime veteran of the ARCA series, done a lot of racing. He said, I'll just go to Talladega and just have a good time and see what happens. Looks like he's having a good day here today.
Hey, check out who's behind him. Ryan Hemphill. Is he out of it?
Don't know.
12 laps to go.
I bet he keeps his hand on the shifter, huh, Kenny?
He's not out of it if that car is mechanically right. Restarting at 9th with 12 to go is not out of it.
You think Jimmy Walker is at running 10th place? Great run for him here today also.
Just in front of Ryan Hemphill, Rich Woodland. Again at Williams in the 95, and Stuart Kirby still hanging in there in Bob Shack's car. Stuart Kirby, that red and yellow car in number 75. Mark Gibson, who had that trouble earlier on in that green and white car, one of the lap cars pulling to the inside.
Little sign of experience here, Kenny. He felt a tire going down, and what did he do? He slowed down as hard as it is to do.
He slowed down, was able to save it because he got slowed down, was able to come in the pits. Still got a race car. He is a lap down, but he's in good shape still.
Lindsay?
You guys talking about the 59 car, right?
Exactly.
Well, I just talked to Dennis Pulte, who's the crew chief for Mark Gibson, and he said that they had a right rear flat originally. That's what happened. I walked over. They were throwing stuff. Their pit crew was pretty upset, and he said they were just really frustrated because they had decent track position. And I said, what's Mark saying on the radio? And he goes, absolutely nothing, because when Mark's missed, he does not talk.
Well, unfortunately, that happened, but it's a lot better than a tore-up race car and possibly getting Mark hurt. So, again, that's a sign of experience. Mark felt the tire going down, so he brought it in and did what he had to do to get back out there.
The 34 of Darrell Basham. Want to mention him. He's running in the 17th spot, and Basham had a little bit of bad luck here at Talladega. This is a guy with not much money. Came here to Talladega, said, hey, Bob, I went around the house, me and my wife, and we scraped together all the coins we could. Came here with $800. Unfortunately, that was taken from him. Somebody actually robbed his wallet here at Talladega, and he was without any change. Tough break for a true independent. We need to salute guys like Darrell Basham in this series. Lap 102, Blake Feast up front. Gets a pretty good jump, but as these boys in the booth, who are the pros up here, have said, they can catch up awfully quick. Kenny Hamlin in second. Reed Sorensen in third. That green and white car, Mark Gibson, a lap down. He is not on the lead lap, but running very strong. Reed Sorensen trying to mix it up already. What does he need to do? Does he need to get going right now and try to get his way up to the front, or at least get by Denny Hamlin, or can he ride right now?
Well, I don't think he can ride because he's going to have someone behind him. But, man, he's doing, I guarantee you, he's doing everything he can do. He's got that pedal pushed down and just run as fast as you can run. Now, we see Mark catching right back up here. Mark is someone that could definitely help Reed get back up there, get around him, because if Reed can get around him and Mark get around Reed, he's back on the lead lap.
I can assure you, if Mark Gibson helps Reed get out front there and the caution does come out, he'll hopefully repay that favor and get Mark Gibson back on the lead lap.
Be nice to see a couple of ARCA regulars help each other out too, and Mark Gibson and maybe T.J. Bell get into this mix. We saw those two work very well a little bit earlier in this race.
Yeah, it didn't just happen there though.
No, it didn't.
When Mark pulled out, of course, T.J.'s thinking, I got to get up there with those guys. I'm racing for the win. Mark's a lap down, so. Boy, you know, everybody is worried about their car and the situation they're in. I mean, it isn't best for the other guys.
Brent Sherman also trying to inch his nose into the mix. That's the black car just coming into your screen right there. The Hickory Farms number 44. Sherman running in fifth. Stuart Kirby just 2 cars behind him. Mark Gibson right in the middle there. But Stuart Kirby in that 75 also coming into his own here. The 95 of Woodland also involved. Snaking down the backstretch here with 9 laps to go.
That second pack reeling in that first pack again. It could get real interesting here again. They start getting too wide there up front. That second pack really catches up. So if anybody's racing again.
You got to be on the edge of your seat right now, because you know this is going to break loose at any moment. Somebody's going to make a move, hoping somebody else comes with them. Could happen next lap. It could happen with just 2 to go. Lindsay?
I want to add to the 75 car of Stuart Kirby, because it is extremely important for him that he does great in this race. The reason being, he gave up his wedding day to be here, guys. He was supposed to get married today. He found out he had an opportunity
very patient and understands the racing world.
That's for sure. That would be a great excuse to get out of a wedding, though, huh, guys?
Let's not go there. Roger Williams actually in that 95 car. Roger running in the 8th spot. I mistook him for the number 2 of Woodland. So sorry about that to all you Roger Williams fans out there. Here is Ryan Hemphill closing in on the mix as well with 7 laps to go, but he's got a long way to go to get by a bunch of cars here to get back in the mix for that lead.
Yeah, but looks like he's going to like move up the lane and start going that direction. And you got to remember that these guys are going to start widening out too wide. Now they look in their mirror and they know that there's a car that can potentially push them. They're going to be receptive to moving up and getting a push from him. Goes up the track, trying to get a run down that hill. They lost a little bit of ground there.
What's going on also in these last 10 laps is these spotters are really working hard. They're getting what they paid for. They're talking to some of the other spotters and trying to get together and say, hey, let's get together and go to the front. And if you get 2 spotters that work together, that's a big help.
Reed Sorensen and T.J. Bell move by the 10 of Denny Hamlin, and now Reed Sorensen pulls right up to the back bumper of leader Blake Feast. You know, we mentioned that T.J. Bell is an independent here, but we got to remember that he's got a Hendrick engine in there. So maybe with that Hendrick engine, he and Blake Feast are going to work together here in the closing laps of this race.
That could have been in the contract.
Yeah. I was thinking if we could make enough money to help pay for the lease.
There you go.
Sorensen, of course, won at Michigan in his 2nd career ARCA start. Blake Feast won at Nashville. Got the guitar after Ryan Hemphill, the dominator in that race, had some trouble with a lap car and wound up in the wall. T.J. Bell has run all the races this year. 4th place, Denny Hamlin, as Don Radebaugh mentioned, his first start. And then you got the 5th place guy in Brent Sherman, 2nd place in points. Sherman pulls out to help Hemphill this time around.
That's all Hemphill might need.
Need some help, and again, every car works different with your car, so you have to find a car that you move forward with. If you don't, you basically dump them and find another guy. Hard as it is. These top 3 guys, this is just what they want to see. They want to be up front. They want to stay single file for that last lap, and then they can go to the racing. But if they don't stay single file right now, that pack's going to catch them in a hurry.
There is Gary Dehart, crew chief for Blake Feast, your leader in that CarQuest number 94. The Target Dodge of Reed Sorensen, 2nd. Reed, every time T.J. Bell is able to pull up to him, is able to catch Blake Feast. But now here comes the others. Denny Hamlin almost going out there by himself. Brent Sherman thinking about what he should do as well in that Hickory Farms number 44.
See, as they weave down the back straightaway, try and break that draft, go to the bottom, come back up to the top, and the whole objective is to move that air around so the guy way back doesn't catch it. Just breaks that air out.
You've got to give credit to Ryan Hemphill because he's trying all that he can right now to try to move his way back up to the front.
And you just, you know, if someone goes around you, that's one thing, but you hate to let them get underneath you and put you out of line.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Once you get on that outside, you're pretty much sitting duck.
Here we go, maybe. Hemphill, of course, started in the rear of the field after that engine change. Has been up front almost all day long. Can't quite do it. Doesn't have the help that he needs to move past Brent Sherman and Denny Hamlin.
Ryan runs way up that hill like Kenny said, to get a run there off the corner, but he needs some help. He needs somebody to run up the hill with him. A lot of guys want to stay on the bottom of the racetrack and just kind of run in the middle. There's not a whole lot of guys that really like to run way high up top. But in my opinion, you got the same grip up top as you do the bottom, and if something happens, there's a lot less distance when you hit that wall.
There is Grant Sorensen, Reed's dad, of course. Reed won for his dad on Father's Day weekend in Michigan. A great Father's Day present. Checking out his son's progress in 2nd. Currently on the racetrack. You know, I want to talk about the 3rd place guy, T.J. Bell, too, because I'm watching that car go around the corners with 2 laps to go, and that front end of that car is just hopping all over the place.
Yeah, it's a very rough track here. You know, it's just settled a lot and pretty bumpy. Plus, you're hitting the bumps at 180 mile an hour, so things move around a lot.
Didn't the backstretch here used to be part of a runway for an airport?
Yes, it was. This whole facility was a military base.
Blake Beast with a lap and a half to go is just wondering what Reed Sorensen and the others have up their sleeve. I'm sure he's racing in his rearview mirror right now. No?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would say so. That spotter's talking to him. He's got, I believe, Ricky Hendricks on the roof there talking to him, helping him out. I'm sure they've got some other next tough help up there.
Oh, TJ Bell gets squeezed out of that third spot by Denny Hamlin. Here comes Brent Sherman following Hamlin. The final lap. This is all that Blake Beast wanted to see. 3 wide there. Hemphill scoots by into the 4th spot. But Blake Beast is sitting pretty out front with a good lead now in the final turns of this racetrack. Coming down to the line, here we go. Blake Beast, can he do it? Yes, he does. His second victory here in the ARCA Remax Series. Reed Sorensen second, Denny Hamlin is third. Ryan Hemphill comes back to finish 4th. Rounding out the top 5, ARCA regular Brent Sherman. Blake Beast wins at the Big House here in Alabama. The biggest speedway on the circuit, the longest race of the year, and the final event on the 2004 ARCA Remax Series. Don?
With crew chief Gary Dehart, that is. Last year it was Kyle Busch with you in victory lane. This year it's Blake Beast. How's it feel?
That feels great to bring these young kids along. It's fun. It really is. Blake's got an awesome attitude about racing, and he's just doing a heck of a job. I hate what happened to Boston a little while ago. Boston, he done a real good job also, but Blake, he brought it home for us, and that's great.
Certainly is. Very great for the whole Hendrick Motorsports organization. That's Gary Dehart, the champion crew chief, getting congratulations from crew members. And we're on our way to victory lane.
Just want to mention that TJ Bell finished 6th. But the sugar packets worked. The instruction from Jimmy Johnson. Blake Beast is the winner here at Talladega.